Greetings.
Here we
Almost
go.
said yeet, and then wrong person, wrong day.
Wrong person, wrong day. That's not
Welcome.
your line.
Regardless.
Welcome to the session that we're gonna go kick a whore down a couple pegs.
Well, that's an idea. So, who can recap last time?
I don't know, man.
As usual, I can, so long as you tell me where we started last session. Was it...
The start of last session, Alsana and Alaris were still in Adra.
Right.
Alsana having just come back from another conversation with her father, and kind of recovering in the bookshop by reading random things off the shelf.
Yes.
Kane and Calda were in Resmond with the Friend family and with a couple of new additions to your acquaintances.
So, I believe from there, Kane had some, other, talks and interactions, conversations with the, let me check the sidebar, actually, for the names.
Crayon?
Maxwell.
Oh, fuck.
And Cayenne. But mainly Maxwell with the little, combat stuff he was doing and weapons and stuff like that. Meanwhile, I think there was a... Was there a conversation had with, Calda and family?
Brief.
Just of, okay, Kane's gonna fight. You want to see me try and hold him?
Yes, that's what it was. And also I think at some point, conversation about, moving forward from here? Where they were going?
Yeah, just what day we're heading out, how many more days we actually gonna spend here, what we doing. A lot of sending stone.
Yep. And then at a point, Alsana sent a message over to Calda that, hey, Roy's here. maybe, but he might be useful. Maybe keep Kane out of the murderous range. And Calda responds, "Don't worry, he's out of the murderous range because someone else is there for him."
Oh.
Yeah.
We have a replacement homicidal, but this one has dexterity.
It's less replacement, more like she got in line first.
Yeah.
That's fair.
She was, Kane would have been only ready to murder once he found out he was there. She was ready to murder at any time, all the time.
Yeah.
Cayenne is very willing to cut in both the metaphorical line sense and also in the very literal sense.
Yes.
Yeah. So Kane
Born
would kill him on
spicy.
sight, but Cayenne is actively looking
Hunting the
for
fucker
Roy.
down.
Yes.
Kane is willing to kill on sight. Kyan is willing to kill on tracks.
Kill from afar with a high caliber.
Yeah.
So...
The caliber arrow, I guess. Since rifles don't exist in this game.
And then after that, Alsana went and talked to Roy for a bit. Basically trying to suss out, is he full of shit for going on the Howling Plains? Or did he get lucky, or is he going to be worth traveling with a group? And also, is he about to run off the first chance he gets? Turns out he's actually competent, probably a decent level bard. He's got some illusions and some transmutations and assumedly enchantments. His fist guy and launch a ballistic missile. Kane's murder is personal. Cayenne's is just if it takes out the rest of the room, so be it. As long as I get him. Yep, and he's actually got some... In the number sense, he's decent. In the character-wise sense, he is a fucking bastard, and that is reinforced a bit more.
On paper, he's useful, but in reality, he's a proper bastard.
As long as you don't look at that personality trait section, you're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, Ariel,
right?
you managed to play the most subtle asshole I've ever met. Well done.
Thank you.
He is just so quietly a prick.
It's
Bad
like
point.
it's like this guy seems like a regular like cocky bard, but then you ask him like 3 questions and you go, oh, okay, I get it now.
Oh, you're a real upright.
Yep. He seems to have very
Bad takes.
opinion. He has opinions on
Bad takes.
personal accountability for pregnancies.
Yeah, he has some bad takes about pregnancy.
Oh boy.
He's like, you talk to someone, and it's like, oh, you're an anarchist because you hate the government. It's like, no, I'm an anarchist because I want to kill everyone. And it's like, oh,
And this is a convenient way to go about it.
yes.
But with that done, there was some conversations as well as like more of the back stuff and like basically how Roy came to be such a whore.
Sure.
As well as information on Alsana's mother
I
and
feel like we can't justify it as a backstory. It's a sob story.
it's an ass story.
To a pity party.
Yeah, it's not a backstory. It's lower down.
That was that. He also has a hut that will be very useful in the plains, especially with the orc tribes, hyenas, and what's the name of the hyena people?
Knowles.
Gnolls,
Gnolls.
and apparently ghosts. It's apparently better to be out in the middle of a field so that you can see things coming rather than holding up in a sort of building where things can probably grab you from out of the walls. He had gone across there once, but thinks he's got enough experience. And however, if we're kind of just like going around and wandering, or the place we're looking for, spring, whatever, takes us to someplace he knows damn well he probably shouldn't be going, he might just kind of take his leave. Which, again, is more than I could have hoped for with this fuck. But,
Fuck.
you decide to stay around just a bit this time. And apparently he is also potentially looking forward to catching up with Kane. Maybe he's just saying it'd be nice. Information is information is kind of spread out at a point. Then Alsana heads back to the bookshop with and Dolores is there, and we find out that hey, that necromancer lady, who we straight murdered, despite the GM's attempt to have her get away.
No.
Apparently she was from Adra, and she was a kind of a regular at the bookstore. We proceed to go, oh, so the house of the necromancer who murdered the boyfriend, kind of,
Where is
suitor. We should probably check that out before anything crawls out of there.
Yeah.
We go to the proper authorities. It's a scratchy voiced teenager, so we wait for the next day to get the captain. Go to the house, give it a look around, find some basic spell scrolls, and then a secret trapdoor that goes down to the bone room.
The bone room.
The bones. Oh no.
It seems that there were potentially some actual unliving things here, but they kind of just fell apart after we killed her and she was not there for like a week.
Yeah.
Alsana proceeded to kind of collect and move about the remains so they could be properly buried, and dealt with a very hard of hearing graveskeeper. As well, she garnered the idea that apparently she hadn't actually killed anyone proper until Warlock's name I can't remember. Wyatt. She probably hadn't killed anyone until then. She just kind of wandered off into the usually somewhat deadly woods and picked up what she could get. Maybe probably did some grave digging too, but who knows.
Yeah. That's neither here nor there.
But that got cleared out. Back in Resmond, the information that Roy was in Veravale, sorry, Adra, not Veravale, got to, and the understanding came to that we should probably talk Cayenne down before she kills our guide to the Howling Plains. Probably one of the very few guys that Howling Plains are gonna find that aren't just gonna go, you're crazy, you're gonna kill yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Kane proceeded to have a heart-to-heart. And also a bit of a, hey, you can't just fucking go for revenge and then just not think about it.
Think of the consequences.
Yeah, like, for more than, like, no seconds.
Like, a half a second, at least.
Think about them, don't think about repressing them.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'll probably have emotions at that point, but
Not to mention all the legal ramifications.
and eventually gets an agreement of not murder on sight, but perhaps
Murder,
fucking horrific genital mutilation justice later on in life.
Sure.
But perhaps eye for an eye isn't the way to go, both for her personally and for our own personal interests.
Yes.
Anything else happened in Resmond?
Not really.
And I think we kind of ended off with that and with
With the party reuniting on the edge of Adra and
yes, and with
Elaris
fucking
figuring out that orb.
and
That
we
was the deal.
that's not fair.
That's not fair. What do you mean?
It's just anything.
Yes.
And you can swing it freely without all the push-ups and sit-ups that Kane has to do to swing a axe like that.
I mean, I suppose so.
He can swing it freely, not just yet, because I did mistake that. He can swing it freely
Yeah.
once he takes the time to make it his
I assume-
packed
yeah,
weapon.
I'm just kind of conflating that
Yeah.
for the sake
Yeah,
of
it's like, I assume
Fair.
once I
exaggeration
attune
at this
to it,
point,
yes,
but yes.
Like, I assume once I tune to it, yes, I imagine that's how that works.
You can just through sheer force of personality take someone's head off with a bladed weapon. All right. Yeah, fine.
he gives like a shrug.
Wholesome father, my butt. Oh, look, here they are.
So you two look like you're having fun.
She's jealous.
I'm sure you will be too.
Oh, why? It just looks like a crossbow. Or
And then I turn the fell steel orb into a great sword.
I hate you.
No, please, it doesn't stop there. Keep going.
Battle axe, javelin.
Okay.
Kane has
War
the
pick.
hungriest. Kane has the hungriest look on his face you have.
Ballista.
Okay, before we all murder you out of jealousy, what's going on with Dick Puncher? Oh, Punch.
Even
I'm
does-
Dick Puncher.
That's what my
He's one of our only guides into the Howling Plains.
I am aware.
And from
Ooh,
my
worries.
best estimates, he is actually somewhat competent in that.
Yes.
He's not just boasting for the sake of it. He has information, general knowledge, potentially memory of directions, and magics that could be very useful in spending more than one evening there.
Asana. Where is?
I fear
Why'd
the
you ask?
ramifications of the you asked.
Because if I don't find him first, Kyan.
Behind Kane, you see a younger looking tiefling with her arms crossed and a stony expression. And kind of hovering behind her shoulder is a tall, broadly built young human man who kind of gives you a little wave.
Given the use of
I-
she,
I-
I'm
I
assuming
look-
this is the one with the murderous intent?
Yep. Another
I
half
look at-
sister. Maximal's just a
yeah.
pretty chill guy.
Yeah. No, I was about to ask Kane, like, are they both or
No. No,
Okay.
notice that one is still human. Something.
I mean,
through a
just
dartboard, who knows?
yeah.
I mean,
Um,
father has some weird interests, I suppose.
that being said, and Alsana walks over and kind of like puts a hand out to Cayenne. My name's
She looks
Alsana.
at it, looks at you, unfolds her arms, and takes it. Cayenne. You would be the other one then?
She nods.
How many of us are there?
You think he keeps count?
No, but I didn't know if maybe you had any idea.
I am aware of one other
Wow.
thus far, for sure.
2 others.
2 others, you're right.
Semantics.
For you. If I asked you how many kids you had and you were off by 1, your wife would be very upset a lot.
That's fair.
He only has one kid.
Even
I
more reason,
planned on
if he
having
said
one.
0, it's a problem.
I wouldn't forget about Gage. At least I don't think I would.
That's because you're a half-decent person.
Why, thank you. I try.
No, I'm still gonna break your neck for that weapon, but that's another story.
It only works for me, buddy. Sorry.
Now, also of note, do you
Yeah,
hold
I'll find out.
do you hold want for a blight against his entire household, or just him in particular?
Him in particular.
Okay,
I-
good, because we have an auntie and she is delightful, and I really think you should meet her.
She
Oh.
is
I
quite a
think you would
nice
love her.
lady.
Well, I suppose after all of this is done,
Sit down for
Would-
tea. It's quite nice.
I'd be willing to give it a try and not assume that everybody from his side of everything is terrible.
No, I believe that's just him.
I'm not going to claim to be aware of your living situation up until this point, but in terms of the offending aspect, I know I am better off than you. But she is in the large part. She's my main source of familial support when there was obvious lacking from other participants.
Well, then I'd like to meet her someday. But first, I want some answers from somebody else. So, where is he?
Okay. Now's the part where you probably start to like me less. You have to understand that we require him in one piece for at least a bit of time.
Conversation with
All
her,
One
she's
Piece?
agreed.
All
Aside
one
from-
piece. We can't do anything to have him running off is the issue.
Yeah, I can't either. Do you know how hard it is to find this guy?
Yes, but you have an endpoint of his corpse on the ground. We don't.
Alsana. Enough. She understands she's not foolish.
She,
Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm not gonna let him run off. Once I find him, I am sticking with all of you guys like glue, and the moment you don't need him anymore, then I'm gonna take care of things. Unless there's some other way.
Do you have a definition for that, or just intend to see it when you see it?
She kind of shrugs and then looks over at Kane and then back at you.
We basically have a running agreement that his usefulness takes priority over her revenge. So as long as he's useful, he stays home. Fair?
She nods. You'd understand my concern, though, that
Yes, I do, and that's why I had this discussion with her days ago. Believe me, I wouldn't have shown her exactly the city he's in if I thought she was ready to ruin this. Like I said, I can see a bigger picture.
Alsana looks and turns. I'm just not sure you're as keen on taking apart what she might actually mean and what she might say to get close to him.
Regardless what she said, I know I can't figure out the truth very easily. I'm gonna be there to make sure she doesn't kill him. So, let's go.
I might
So-
slap him, but I won't draw a knife.
Okay, that makes
Works for me.
that's good.
I'm sure he's used to it.
I mean, we saw him in stocks when we first met him, didn't we?
No, I'm sorry, I missed that. Easy target.
A couple tomatoes were thrown.
As they should be.
Less than he deserves.
For now.
That's fair.
Devin,
So
is, Devin is be right back, but
Yep.
shall
Hello?
we
Just
assume
just
party
gonna
moves
turn to
in?
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Yep.
Oh, hello.
Just turn to Kaiden real quick. You sure you're ready?
Takes a deep breath.
Right.
Ready? But first, do you want to talk to him alone or before me or separate?
No,
For any reason.
Hello?
will-
Hello?
Sorry.
Hey.
Being
I will
interrupted.
I'll speak to him as needed, and then
So we're all gonna behave, right?
I make no promises about that.
Kane,
How about
if you-
this, Alaris? I'll make you a deal. Alaris, if I behave, do I get the?
Afraid this was something that Xanthus gave to me, so.
Can I
sorry.
swing you by the ankles as if I were wielding you?
While I don't doubt your ability to, I'm not too keen on that.
You have really good aim. You can shoot from a moving position.
maybe we can talk about this after the.
Yes, we can.
That.
We'll talk of joint custody later.
Kane, a word.
Call's gonna.
Just a moment.
Oh, sorry.
Sure.
Just pulls him aside a sec. It's all well and good of your attentions with her, but what of yourself?
What they've always been. Same as I treated you as I first saw you. I'll keep you distant. Keep him distant.
There's like a twitch
If I
on her
have to get
face.
close, I will.
Do you put me in the same category?
No, but it's how I handle my violent tendencies. By keeping them distant for my sake and theirs.
You
Capiche?
think you can hold that up in this particular instance?
Find out, aren't I? Look, if you need to magic me up to make me stop being a problem,
She
I'm not trying to ruin this mission.
she nods. I won't hesitate if either of you become an issue.
Good. Mission takes priority. If I need to be left behind for some reason, go find.
Just nods.
We good?
Well, I mean, all things considered. And she walks off.
Let's go talk to.
Alright. Led by Alsana, you guys head through town to the inn called the Coin and Bow, just off the center in town square. You pass by the stocks and pillory that were mentioned, and yeah, you know what happened there.
You can still see some of the tomato juice dried on the sides.
It'll make a wonderful marinade later.
I'll walk in first, give him some pre-warning. He knows it's today, but still.
Do you want to bring it to a private room to keep from embarrassing him too much, or
It's my intention.
good? Just let us know which room.
Yep, she'll walk in.
Alright. You walk in, there's a few more people. It's later in the day, and you very quickly hear and then see Roy up at the front, currently playing on, I believe I gave him a lute, but I'm not finding it written anywhere, so we'll say he has a lute. He's currently kind of playing a fairly popular tune. And just kind of hamming it up at the front of the room. There's a
Playing those
small bowl.
Bon Jovi hits.
Oh. Oh.
There's a small bowl at his elbow with a small handful of coins in it. Not a lot, but seems he's doing his work.
How well is he playing?
Well, let's see. I've got numbers for that.
I've got a DC I've had since session 1. Oh,
32.
Good fucking lord.
Oh.
He rolled a natural 19 and has an insane modifier.
so maybe more than a few coins.
Yep, maybe
Alright,
more than a
John,
few
let him
coins. There's a little heap of silver and copper in that bowl.
Huh.
She'll walk up.
You see him, his eyes flicker towards you, and he acknowledges you with a smile and a nod, but then he kind of goes back to just working the crowd.
Ugh.
Let's see. How many people are in here, I wonder? If I roll, let's say 2d6, there's about 6 people in there. After about a minute or two, the song
was gonna say,
comes to an end.
At the minute mark, she just kind of like points to the door outside and then drags a finger across her throat. For him to see.
Yep. The fingers don't even skip on the strings, but he, for a moment, the expression flickers from the winning smile to a slightly more somber oh. And then he's back to the big grin and the hey and almost dancing at the front of the room. But as the song comes to a close, let me just check something real quick. As Kyan is standing just outside the door, is Kane there as well?
He's standing close behind her, ready to.
All right. All right. Kane, can you give me a wisdom saving throw?
Oh, lovely.
11.
Sheer force of rage give me advantage.
No. But listening
In
to
that
this
case, I'm
music.
gonna use my Indomitable.
Okay, go for it. No. DC
Well.
17. As This
I'm within 10 feet of Calda.
oh, good point.
Yeah, Calda's like
You
right
are.
beside Kane. Sorry.
Okay. Kane, for a moment, you start to feel lulled almost. You start to feel like this is honestly the best music you've ever heard. Maybe if the performer and the performance are linked, maybe it wouldn't be so great to go in fist swinging. Maybe he's not such an awful guy. Maybe, just maybe, it would be worth it to leave him be for the sake of the music. And then you kind of shake yourself and slap yourself in the face and feel the warmth of Calda's presence next to you and the feeling of finding someone who acts like a good parent, who wants you to be part of her family in a way that you maybe have never felt with Roy especially before. And that reminds you and puts you right back on track with focus. But next to you, Kyan is... You glance over and you start to see that conflicted expression on her face that you yourself felt a moment before.
He'll just place it. Closer. He weaves back.
She looks over. No, that's... Well, I mean, it was really good. I didn't expect...
He weaves. Your being. This is.
No, I just... I had thought I thought he'd be some two-bit musician on a slide whistle or something. This is actually really good.
Can Kane tell she's being influenced? Or if she's being influenced?
Go ahead and roll an insight. Yeah, there is a weird sort of vagueness at the back of her eyes. But you also know that that's the sort of thing that might be a little bit difficult to break through. However, you know what? Roll a quick Arcana, just real quick, to see if you've experienced.
If this is what I think it is, Kane was fully ready to just like clock her in the chest.
Yeah, just Arcana, just to see if you have that inkling. Yeah, you know that fairly often with these kinds of charms, sometimes a sharp slap to the face will snap him out of it.
He's just gonna give like a quick shot to like one of the floater rings.
Okay. I won't have you roll an attack. You most likely hit as she is being caught off guard. She doesn't expect you to attack her, so you would have had advantage on it.
Yep.
And
he'll
you
just like grab her by the collar and just like pay.
There's a ow, what?
He's influencing you. Pay attention.
And her whole
Slow.
face storms over.
Slow down. We can resist
Does
this.
Alaris notice
We
this?
have to be smart.
LRS, you're standing right there. You probably noticed this. I believe Alsana was the only one who went inside.
Okay. Yeah. Hey.
Yeah,
Don't
Cultus
do
is
anything
going.
rash here.
Cultus is going between them. Just
Yeah, we're like, okay. Don't do anything
Guys,
rash.
it's not me she's upset.
I know.
I know.
Don't do. But we're looking at it. I'm looking at Roy as well. It's like, don't do anything rash. This is a very public forum, and you really should consider the consequences.
She's gonna. Cayenne, I say if he doesn't leave after the song, we embarrass him. Sound good?
I did misread something in that ability. If a target succeeds on its saving throws, the target has no hint that you tried to charm it. However, for the sake of Indomitable, I'll let it go. Because you used that ability. Let's just go with it.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. He also is probably suspicious enough to be suspicious of Bardic Man.
Also, the 21 Arcana.
Also the
Yeah.
21 Arcana, so, sure.
Yeah.
All right. Cayenne, she's screwing up her fists and she's almost trembling under your hand. And she just says, talk to him, and then I'll come in, because I might punch first, and if I knock him out, you're not going to be able to have any kind of conversation.
Fair enough. And remember that he just needs to be functional, not unharmed.
There's a sharp nod, and she kind of backs up and leans against Maxwell, who pats her on the shoulder and looks at you with an "okay, I got this" expression.
He'll nod back to her and wait to see if Roy leaves after the finishes.
Inside, Alsana, you see Roy wrap up the performance. Everybody is very appreciative.
I'm giving him a slight slow clap.
A lot of applause and a lot of conversation, and some people come up to him and ask him if he's going to be in town for much longer, if he's going to perform again, if there's an encore. He's very charming and very kind. He's kind of got that customer service, but to the nth degree. As he
If he's taking
kind
any
of
more than like 30 seconds talking
lightly.
to people, Alsana will just do a whatever
he takes yeah, he
whatever
takes
the
more.
fantasy colloquialism of like tapping her watches.
Yep. Let's just go with
77.
tapping the watch. I've got no idea what that would be.
I just imagine it's some symbol of like the sun is setting. Let's go.
Yep.
Swing in the pocket watch. I don't
Dial,
know.
yeah.
Um, he notices. He gives you a little bit of a one moment gesture, and continues talking to people. But after another minute or two, he manages to slowly work his way through the crowd over to you and extract himself from it. Alsana, go ahead and do a quick insight check.
Hmm. Insight. 15.
Yeah, not hard. About 3 people in the crowd seem almost excessive in their fawning.
Can she make an Arcana check in this one?
Yeah, go ahead.
19.
Yeah, you're there's a possibility that it's just a fan club that's sprung up, but also you know enough about bards and magic and charms that it's like, maybe. You didn't see him cast a spell, but you know that there are some abilities that don't require incantations or gestures.
Look, if whatever you're doing is going to take any more time, you're already setting a shitty example and a bad first impression. Well, second, third, after
He
the
gives you a
whole
smile.
issue beforehand.
Now, you did catch me in the middle of performance.
And I did give you warning that today would be the day.
Well, I can't just sit on my laurels all day for hours and hours.
She rolls her eyes, but solitaire was fine yesterday. Look, I'm not about to care about this right now. Can you find a room off to the side and I can bring them in so this doesn't become a public event? Because it's not going to be quiet, I guarantee you.
Very well, I have my room that I've rented. It's just upstairs.
Make sure no fangirls are going to be peering in the doorway, shall we?
Oh,
If you've got any things going on right now.
Oh, give them a talk, don't worry.
Now,
He tells you what room it is and says send them up whenever they're ready, and goes over to the barkeep, sets down some coins as some kind of tab or payment, it seems, and then heads up the stairs with the remainder.
Alright. She might make a motion for Alaris. If Alaris can see.
Yeah, I'll come over then.
And she'll tell him the room and then just go back up after Roy to make sure
Okay.
he's going there.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on him. I'll turn the orb into a short sword and sheath it.
Alright. I believe the idea was Ilaris, you tell Kane and Kyan, and Alsana's
and I'll
following.
do that as well.
Yep.
So I'll just sheath the
Okay.
short sword and go, hey, it's this room.
Yep. And while he's doing that, Alsana runs after Roy.
Alright. Are you doing it stealthily or no?
No, she's just catching up.
Okay. He looks behind him as you follow and gives you a nod. Heads to the room he mentioned. Opens the door, leaves it open. Probably kicks something in front of it to one of those little door wedges to keep it propped open.
Also gives a quick look around the room. Anything that can be easily used as a weapon.
It is kind of a standard bare bones inn room. There is a very simple bed, straw stuffed mattress, blanket on top, a pillow. Probably you could asphyxiate somebody with those. There's a chair, a small table.
Also, we'll push the chair just a bit more under the table. No pots or vases or anything, is there?
There's a candlestick with a big candle in it, half burnt, half spent. The candlestick, it looks like it's more carved and varnished, but heavy.
It's more worried about property damage at this point.
Yeah, the candlestick looks like it would be the easiest thing to use as a weapon.
Yep, she'll move that just over to the backside where Roy is assumedly being.
Yep. Roy kind of kicks the chair out from the table and seats himself on the edge of the bed just to have a place to converse. He looks at you. I apologize for not having more furniture.
Count that as a blessing for yourself. We don't know how smoothly this will go. Do your best to keep... Look, I know you can't see the issue in it, but when you try to act like things aren't your fault, it tends to piss people off, especially the abandoned potential, and she like put big air quotes on it, children that you may have. So don't so much as say, "Oh well, it wasn't my fault. I knocked your mother up."
Crude,
If you
but
value your
noted.
front teeth.
I do indeed. And I appreciate the warning. Thank you.
They'll be in a moment. And she'll take a spot, like, yeah, if he like, she might take a spot just like leaning against the like corner of the bed or something, like something that she's potentially somewhere in between Roy and the people who come in.
Okay. I'm about
And,
to sneeze. Excuse
Bless
me.
you.
Alsana, you kind of see him. He almost seems to bow his head for a moment and mutter something to himself with a hand in front of his face. But it's a little too quiet for you to hear.
Also of note, she prepped hold person today.
Okay.
Good choice.
Ooh, double hold persons. Let's vibe.
Takes a deep breath and settles back a bit, leaning sideways against the wall that the bed is against. So, does Kane head up first?
Yep, and he'll ask Calda to come in with, as
Oh
well as
yeah,
Elias.
Calda's not leaving his side at that point.
Okay.
He'll just
All right
kinda
then.
push in the door without knocking or anything, and just lock eyes with Roy.
Roy gives you a very slight, very subtle smile. Before
Just blink.
progressing, Kane, what is on the very surface of your mind?
The very surface, counting to 10.
Counting to 10. Okay.
Counting to 10 and breathing deeply.
So, suppressed fury. Got it.
Yes.
Calda, what is on the very surface of your mind?
Worry. I'm just saying,
Okay.
like a bit of worry.
And Alsana on yours.
Hoping we're not going to accidentally scare him away, and slight optimism in that she might have an excuse to knock Kane out a window.
All right. So, you enter the
I
room.
did ask for Alaris to enter as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
Alaris is also.
So, Ilaris, what is on the very surface of your mind?
This guy's facial hair sucks.
Yeah, he's this guy. This guy's facial hair sucks. This guy sucks, but he's just hoping that there's not like a physical altercation, and that tensions don't run too high. He's expecting, like a lot of like explosive emotion, but like he just doesn't hope it doesn't like boil over too much.
All right. As you enter, you see Roy Kirkland, familiar but older to Kane, to the other two, a complete stranger. Though, if you know it's there, if you are expecting to find it, you could probably look and see small similarities of facial structure, of hair, hair color, hairline, little things of build.
Probably the way that
Between
Alsana
him.
holds her chin when she gets arrogant.
Yep.
And as well as similar to how Kane gets when he's trying to talk someone down.
Of note, he does not currently look arrogant. He
Okay,
looks fairly humble. A small smile, little dip of the head. Good. I'm happy to see you.
Okay. Nice to see you too. Ish. Prefer Kane now, not good. This is Alaris. He's a half-decent father. Alaris, if you notice him casting magic, shoot him please, but nothing lethal. This is
Yes,
Calda. Calda is the closest thing to a mother I've ever had in a long time. She's able to help you resist magic, and also if you cast magic, she will also hurt you. Now that
He's
I've been
nodding.
introduced, I would not appreciate you casting any magic if that's not made clear.
I believe you've made that abundantly clear. I'm
Good.
sorry, but I only have the one chair in here.
Don't plan to stay long, don't worry.
Perhaps for the young
Kaya.
lady? Kyan
Yeah,
is
Kaya.
waiting outside.
He's
Kyan
just
has
gonna
not
say the
come
name.
in.
Yeah, he's just saying the name. Her name's Kaya.
Okay. I'm sorry, I thought you introduced everybody here. He's looking around. I
The
don't...
one who's also your child.
Oh.
Regardless. Do you have any words for me? No bardic bullshit. Anything you care to say?
I did worry, when
Okay.
I came home and you were gone, and Alsana as well.
So you're worried for his safety and the fact that we were young children left alone?
I was worried for your safety.
Good. Realize we were the two children who you left best.
I also understand that you are on a mission
Yes.
for which
One that you
I
will be
can
helping
offer
with.
some aid.
One that you will help.
Hmm.
Am I correct?
Of course.
He's agreed.
Want to hear it from him.
I will help. However,
Good.
I have already told Alsana there are some places that
Yes,
I
yes, you'll
will
save your
not.
own skin. You're not going to go anywhere you don't want to, whatever. Normal mercenary agreement. Fine. Well, that's all I particularly care about. Don't try to be a father to me. It's not going to work. Hope you guide everyone well. Get ready to meet your other daughter. Kyan,
How
Your
have
turn.
you been? How have you been?
violent and angry. Let's move on.
I see.
Kyan,
The Kyan appears around the corner with Max at her shoulder.
by the way, this is Maxwell. He's the one who kept Kyan from dying of exposure.
There's another small smile from Roy. Well, then it seems I may be in your debt. Max just folds his arms, leans against the wall, and says she's the one who wants to talk to you. Kyan steps further into the room.
Kyan Kane will step to the side and let her take where she was standing.
She
Making sure
is
she's within 10 feet of Calda.
She's glaring hard at Roy. And you see Roy's expression change into something almost sad. He leans forward slightly off the wall and says, "Ah, Clarities, aren't you? I see her in you." And Kyan screws her fists even further.
Sana's
even
holding
tighter.
whole person.
She says, "You don't say her name." Roy puts his hands up and leans back again. "I'm sorry. What happened, I never would have intended." Doesn't matter what you intended. It happened. And it's because of you. If you just stayed, she wouldn't have been.
Roy, I'd suggest same rules that go with me, go with her. No bardic bullshit.
He spreads his
Just-
fingers wide.
A warning.
I'm nothing. I honestly, I can't fix what occurred. I am not that sort of spellcaster, and I don't think there are any strong enough to turn back time regardless. But for what it's worth, you have my wholehearted apology. You see tears starting to course down Cayenne's cheeks. But her brow is still furrowed beneath her horns. She still seems angry. She's shaking visibly now.
Kate's gonna kind of just walk up and put one hand on her shoulder. Roy, important question. You've seen the pain you've caused. You've seen the mistakes you've made. Regardless if you can correct them, do you plan to prevent doing this in the future?
I will do my best.
Inside check.
Insight check, go ahead.
She'll trace a guidance. She doesn't care.
Okay.
She'll cast magic in front of him.
23. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and type some things to you. This will be the equivalent of a whisper.
Gotcha,
If
gotcha.
you can get to them.
Is it just the one message?
Yep, sorry, still typing.
Guys, D&D Beyond.
Rowan
Craig
Forge.
is
Let me talk to you guys about Squarespace. Guys,
Although
Honey
honestly,
is a great browser extension for your.
NordVPN. Though what's actually keeping this session together today? Brought to
is
you by
Omaha
Advil.
Steaks.
No, brought to you by Advil, keeping me alive.
brought to you by Shoppers Drug Mart.
Brought to you. Brought to you by.
Bards.
Yes.
Unfortunately,
yeah.
this party is brought to you by Bards.
Yeah.
Given to us by viewers like you.
Whoever you are.
Real quick, Ari, I'll just send you a small thing.
Okay. There is a return whisper happening
Fair enough.
as the entire party is kind of caught in a freeze frame for just a moment.
Dual whispers, boys.
Dual whispers.
All my brain wants to do is go like the Jack Black song of "It is I who fucked the dragon, fuckaloo, fuckaloo."
I hate you.
God.
God, now I want to watch Jack Black movies.
Right?
God.
Literally just Pick of Destiny and then School of Rock.
I've actually never seen
Right?
Destiny, but I want to.
You've never seen
Also-
I'm watching Pick of Destiny with you.
Also,
Okay.
Jumanji.
That's where that comes from.
Jumanji's pretty good though. Jack Black is
We should
great
just have, like,
in
a-
Jumanji.
We should just have a Jack Black movie night.
Sure.
We need to have more themed movie nights. Last
am
one we
here
had
for
was
this.
on my birthday, and we watched fucking
Akira and
Studio Ghibli
Aladdin.
movies. And
And Aladdin.
did we watch Aladdin?
Yeah.
We watched. I only remember Aladdin and Akira, which is a wild tone shift.
I then we
Yeah.
watched Totoro.
We watched Totoro. I'm pretty because I wanted to get through a bunch of Ghibli movies, but y'all were like passed out.
All
I fell
right.
asleep
was like-
to it.
That's
Okay.
it.
It was like 3 a.m.
I know. I was just.
No one
Alright.
slept.
I
Okay.
want to do a Ghibli marathon at some point.
Okay, I'm paused.
This
Okay.
episode
Alright.
not brought to you by Ghibli.
I wish though.
I wish.
I take trigger sooner.
All right. So, as we resume with Roy making that promise, and Alsana boring holes into the side of his head, it seems.
Like
He'll kind of just
literally
turn
or
him also.
figuratively?
Figuratively.
For now.
With her eyes.
Laser
I have not
out.
given Alsana laser
Superman's
vision, and I'm pretty sure that's not a druid
just
ability.
like Mars attacks, he turns into a skeleton.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Ken will just kind of like turn to Alsana and just be like, I'll trust you to tell me what he was lying about later.
She
Alright.
she doesn't look at Kane.
Kyan, do you want to keep going? Or
Keep venting.
I'm gonna be outside.
Maxwell, stay with her?
Always. And they head out of the room. You hear their footsteps go just a little distance down the hall outside and then stop and wait.
Also puts a hand up.
Kane will nod to her.
As someone who hasn't had the pleasure of knowing her more personally, what exactly
believes-
is Roy guilty of here?
She believes due to the grief and abandonment and the stress that caused upon her mother that Roy is the cause of her mother dying and her becoming homeless as a child.
Wow, that's
As I mentioned, we were lucky.
She nods. Well, I mean, you can argue, but certainly more than her.
Compared to all the ones I've seen so far, like it or not, at least we had each other.
She,
Listen to
she
us, at least we had Adam.
just said, you remember the other one, he had a proper family.
he did.
You did.
They at least
Okay.
Make no mistake, that doesn't, that by no means forgives
Right,
the act.
He's not forgiven of anything, we know that.
But
And who knows however many more.
I
There
don't think
are
I
out
went
there.
specific with you on that, Roy, but there is one theorized and very assumed bastard of yours living well.
Well, that's good to know.
So,
Now,
I
from my
have one
understanding,
more question for you, Roy.
Of course.
Is it only half-breeds that you create?
Well, no. I'm not choosy, is the thing.
I've noticed.
would you believe me if I told you we went through this the first time I talked to him?
Yes, you tend to be thorough.
Let's just say your patterns are terribly recognizable for anyone looking. Hiding behind he said, she said, and plausible deniability doesn't exactly work when you've got such motive behind you.
Regardless what you feel is justified, you've hurt more people than you and a lot worse. That's your business. I hope you can be better. I particularly care if you Alaris, do you have any words for dear old dad?
I think
Piece of
you're a
advice, perhaps?
scumbag for leaving all of these mothers behind. Other than that, no, not really.
Kalda?
You realize you can wrap it, right?
Once again,
You can.
would you believe me if I told you?
I would, but just
It bears
You're not a-
repeating.
you're not a father, so
No.
Moreover, I'm trying to avoid the answer he gave.
Probably an astute choice.
Yeah.
She's kind of like looking at him, just be quiet.
It's gonna
Don't
be
fucking
towards
say
them
it.
with you being an absentee, but
It gives you
just
a,
know.
a somewhat innocent what me look.
I'm gonna have Kane roll a
I'd
wisdom
fashion
save
a
on that.
Yeah, I fashion a hand crossbow. It's like, don't try to be cute.
You see Kane just kind of like close his eye and tighten his fists and just go like, I will say, Roy, if you are anything other than completely upfront with me in the time I am around you. If you try to play off any bullshit and make it a casual thing, I will feed you your feet.
For the benefit
That
of
will
your
make-
own health. Don't be cute.
Oddly specific threat, but Surface
You
of
have
Kane's thoughts real quick.
Such a plan you would not believe.
Give
for
me
the
the current
sake-
He's gonna
Surface of
replace your
Kane's
eyeballs
thoughts.
with
Probably
your
the whole
kneecaps.
plan.
Give the
Yes,
okay. I can actually
exactly.
outline it very quickly. He has a very specific plan to first castrate him, boil the pieces that come off, take both the kneecaps, break them with a smaller hammer. Whole time he's tied down, by the way.
Scott,
Twist
just
them,
like
bend it so
At
the
this-
knees are bent
this
backwards.
is the point in
At
like the
this point,
TV
you
show
can
that's
stop.
like unbelievably censored, like beep.
Yep. He then plans to break the femur as well as the secondary bone on the bottom half of the leg.
Conrad,
I
at
imagine-
this point you can
like,
stop
yeah,
because
too
it no
much, too
longer
much, yeah.
matters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like this at this point, like this is the point where like you like Alaris takes him aside, is like, what were you planning to do with him anyway? And it's just like, well, I was imagining I would
Ariel, I had this written in my
for like
notes.
3 minutes.
Yep.
I'm like, oh my god. And just like the face journey of Alaris is just like more and more horrified and just like, oh shit.
I'll just gently like
Breaking the
grab it.
Geneva Convention, you're dancing on its grave.
Yeah.
I'll just like
Yeah, don't
gently
do the
grabbing
fucking
Kane's
can
wrist.
Royce.
God.
There
Anyway.
is some of you with high insight might see a very slight flinch on Roy's face as Kane is making the threats and saying that he has a specific plan.
Yep, and that's called to kind of grab his wrist and just kind of.
You're okay.
Like even Exant is like, damn, dude. What the fuck?
Harsh.
Also that gives a look back. Remember when I said being careful? Or, again, sorry, the expression at least again is just like
For the benefit of your own health.
Kane didn't
Like
really
I
say
said.
anything, but
Kane is a surprisingly peaceful man. He's just filled with violent rage.
I'm going to
Yeah.
assume that's on the surface of Alaris' thoughts right now.
Yeah, he's an overall peaceful, nice kind of guy. He just happens to be filled with violent, frothing at the mouth rage.
Insurmountable levels of
Fish your
fear.
friendly neighborhood nuclear warhead.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yep.
precisely.
Roy says, I feel duly warned and I will tread very carefully. But just be warned that if we get into some sort of danger out there, if it's necessary, I might have to cast magic.
That's fine. I don't want you casting magic on any of us, because I know you influence thoughts, and I know you influence opinion.
Yes.
I have beneficial magic, so perhaps don't make
Yes,
that
you
a
cast some
blanket
on
ban.
you cast some on your daughter by accident by the time we walked in here. That was her first impression of meeting you. I'd suggest laying off.
Ah,
Oh, I was right with that. That's just an area of effect. You don't even have any control over it except the people you see.
He does seem like the type of spray and pray, doesn't he?
Oh, gross.
Nice.
Oh, disgusting.
Okay, roast sessions aside. When do we plan on leaving?
that I leave up to you. Though I will say that this town has become somewhat dull for me.
Of course it has.
And
But
given
we
your
don't-
recent performance, I think we best leave before you're on the stockades again and we have to wait for you.
How about you guys want to go to Veravale, right?
I did want to make it stop there, yes.
Alright. I'm gonna
Preparations.
take tomorrow to prepare myself, physically and mentally. So don't wait up for me.
Alaris is gonna has taken time to attune to the Felsteel Org.
You can after this conversation.
Yes.
Now, one other thing. If what she says is right, Kyan does intend to, at least partially stick around for a bit. And she's looking at Roy.
There's a little bit of
Yes.
grimace on his face. A little, oh dear.
You dug this grave.
looks
shut
over.
up and lie in it.
No, I had a small taste of Alsana's power recently. Can the other handle this sort of journey?
she's gonna have to if she wants to stick around.
She's at least going to be there for the trip to Veravale, and I have a feeling that rational thought isn't at the absolute forefront right now. So,
No.
at another point, we can have a conversation on whether she actually wants to follow us into the plains. That being said, we're at the very least going to have a bit of a trip with her around. And so I'd recommend that at least you and I have a conversation about how to step on eggshells.
Yeah.
I've had to tread lightly before. I am sure that I can.
I
imagine you tread
Awkward-
about as likely as a war
Awkward as it may be, I know how to be subtle and discreet and non-offensive.
Uh-huh.
That would be a lovely change.
with all due
Just
respect,
know that
with all due
the
respect, to you-
consequences of I'll set it.
go ahead.
The consequences of failure, Roy, will be far more severe if you fail. Be aware.
With all due respect to your magical prowess and your general skills, completely ignoring your quality of character, I'm sure you have the confidence of certain aspects, but I'm also very sure that there's a lot of things about you that, over the years, have been worn down and carved into your very soul with how you act. You're going to slip into them. It's going to happen. And it takes one poorly timed comment for this whole thing to be terrible for both of us. I want you in one piece because you can guide us with the Howling Plains, and afterwards, I don't know. But, and you want to be in one piece because I just assume you do. Acts to the contrary. So, I would think it'd be a good idea that we can, me from being an outsider, but having a decent idea of what you are about, we can talk and we can be sure you're not going to slip up. Strings on lutes break. I know for all the confidence you would have in yourself to be at the point that you are in your life now, this is something different. This is something you haven't dealt with before. Please trust in me with this.
I may not have dealt with this precise situation, but I have dealt with people in general, in a great many situations and moods and so on.
You don't. It's a bit of a catch-22 here, because the very issue is you put very less importance on family, and it is that lack of importance that has you somewhat blind to the fact that there is a burning rage in the very bottom of souls that occurs when family is brought into things.
I am aware of a burning rage.
Not just with Kane. And not just with her. Is it fair to say that this is the first time in your life all your bastards have gone in one room and given you shit for your methods that have brought them into existence?
Well, given what you said about finding another, then this might not be all of you.
I'm sure you can throw
And
a
I
dart at a
do
dartboard.
remember a few occasions of your childhood where you scolded me from time to time for various things.
I've only had the worldview I do now at that time.
Hmm.
But
Yes,
Realize that if you speak
it was
incorrectly this time, Roy,
it was more adorable than this
yes, and I didn't
conversation.
and I didn't know how to use a knife. And Kane didn't know how to use a greatsword.
That probably was part of it.
So
and frankly, next time you won't get scolded, you'll get scalded. Learn this
Ugh,
quickly.
that's bad even from me. Come on.
Kane, I appreciate
Alaris,
everything you're going about right now. I don't think threats are the way to convince him of this.
No.
No,
it's either it comes out verbally or physically.
consider your point very well made.
Just like I said, you want to if there's any part in there that feels the want to make amends. For me, you can start here with trusting me that we can figure out a way to keep you amiable from our perspective, not for yours. Please?
I'm sure that this can be managed.
I'll take it. Well then, I believe preparations for travel are in order. Kane, I'm sure you've got everything
I've got
already
one more
from off the road.
I've got one more question. Roy here. I'm gonna check on Cayenne. Do you actually believe that whatever hedonism you're performing here is a source of happiness for you, or are you just so desperate clinging to something that gives you the vague idea of?
Of course, it's... There's this expression on his face like he has no idea what you're trying to get at. Like you just asked him, "Are you sure that the sky is blue in the day?" He has this expression that is very much, why is that a question? Why is that anything doubtful?
Alright, so you're deluded as well as good. We're gonna check on Cayenne. And he'll kind of walk out and see if you can find her in the hallway.
She's out there, so is Max. She's kind of leaning against the wall with her head in her hands, kind of rubbing her temples a little bit, but you also see fresh, wet tracks down her cheeks. Max is just kind of leaning against the wall next to her, shoulder touching hers, quiet, looking worried, but not otherwise saying anything or doing anything. He looks up at you as you come out into the hallway.
Fuck.
He'll kind of nod to Maxwell and he'll take a seat next to the Cayenne, not touching or anything, and just tell me to fuck off at any point, but I figured you'd use an extra voice.
I don't know what I need. He seemed upset, but I don't know if that's enough. I spent so long thinking, so long planning on doing it. And then you said to hold off, that maybe if he was remorseful, but I don't know if that's enough.
It doesn't have to be. If it's not enough, it's not enough. He will deal with the consequences. He needs to wait until we're done having use of him.
I don't want to travel with him not doing anything, but I also can't just let him go.
Well,
Especially, I can't just let him go into a place that nobody can track or no eyewitnesses or anything.
Well, that's your decision.
You said that if I needed a voice, what would you do? If you were me, if you were trying to track this, or anyone else, even if not him, and you couldn't, and you had so much trouble, and it was so hard, and then you found them, but you couldn't kill them yet, and you had to travel with them, because if you didn't, they'd vanish again. Could you do it?
I managed it at 14, 15. Not to kill, but try to get a vague idea of love out of my mother. Tracked her down to a nomadic orc tribe found out that I had a whole separate half family there that vaguely accepted me and wanted me for a while. Taught me how to be strong. And then I killed my brother.
Well, damn.
The thing is, he wasn't deserving. Nothing is easy. Nothing is simple. He took a pasta fork to the weave that is your life and just ran it through its mix. If you can't forgive him for that, that's you're under an obligation. But sometimes you could just ignore where there's a knot and move on. He doesn't matter. Not unless you let him. He could just be some bard sleeping around and fucking up his own life with his own action. Be a part of you. Or you could let him further tangle those wires, kill him, risk getting caught, or risk not getting the satisfaction you want. And that's your choice. I can't tell you what's right.
If it's taking more than a moment, can Alsan just lean out the door into the hallway?
You see this this tableau, this row of people against the wall in the hallway.
That
Kane
being said, I
seems
do
to
have-
have. Mhm.
Right.
No, go ahead.
That being said, I do have one thing that I find helps with the tears.
What's that?
Do you want to go punch each other until we can't feel anything?
That
You laugh,
sounds-
it works.
You know, I really can't punch hard.
I'll let you have a knife there. Don't worry.
All right, fine. You're wearing a tin can of armor. Can't hurt you that bad.
Sure, the armor is what protects me. Don't worry, you'll get there someday. Look at it. Ruffle her hair. Maxwell, do you want to make sure that none of us do anything stupid?
Always. Gets up, helps Kyan up, offers you a hand as well.
He'll stand up and kind of lock eyes. I'll saunter down the hallway.
He's just looking neutral face.
Yep, he kind of just... You're welcome to join us too.
I'll be okay.
Sure. Do you mind letting Calden help me do some sparring?
She leans in. Kane's going out to... Kane, Maxwell, and Cayenne are going out to punch each other. I think you're invited as well.
Carl's gonna just chuckle and lean back and just go, I trust him enough to do this one on his own.
Well, it might be a better place to sit than in this awkward soup of a room.
That's very fair.
Up to you, though.
Are you joining?
No, I think I'll stay here.
Are you gonna be okay?
I think so.
Alright. I got the stone if you need me.
Nods.
And so stay safe. I'm gonna go catch up with them just so they don't kill each other, and Calder's just gonna start running off.
Right, yes.
All right, you guys head off. Find a little bit of like a back courtyard of the inn that you're allowed out to once you explain that you're adventurers, warriors. You'd like a little sparring practice with the proviso that don't kill each other.
And Kane's gonna go just pure grappler. He's gonna wear his leather armor, just hands.
Okay.
Grappler Goody.
You gave her a rapier, I believe, so she'll go ahead and use that and get a little exercise in with it.
Can I run to the washroom real
this is
quick while
cute.
this is going?
Yes. Oh, go ahead. I
Thank
wasn't
you.
planning on it being long, but
Alright.
go ahead.
I won't be
I
long
think
either.
Kate resist piercing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I resist piercing, so it's gonna be fun.
Yep. So you know what? Go ahead and roll a quick dexterity check just to see if you or Kyan go first. She goes first, and she goes and hits you with advantage because you haven't taken a turn yet. Yeah, no. The rapier, you see her coming. She is very clearly telegraphing this move. It is an unfamiliar weapon. She's not used to the length or weight of it yet. And so as she thrusts forward, you just kind of slap it to the side out of the way.
As soon as he slaps it, he'll then grab her wrist and be like, change your form here. Back leg straight, can't push forward with a straight, strong back leg. Shoulder goes more forward. If you do front facing the entire time, you leave an open target. Twist your shoulder so that just your front facing is attacking. Try again.
All right. Okay. And she backs up and gives it another shot. About the same. Maybe slightly worse, as she is trying to do all of these adjustments at the same time, but every time she adjusts one thing, it throws off another one, and she stumbles slightly sideways.
And he'll try to catch her. It's like, do you learn by doing or do you learn by talking?
I learned by doing.
Good. He's gonna punch her across the jaw.
Go ahead. Make that proficiency, strength. Yeah.
16-ish.
Yeah, she apparently does not see it coming, and you just clock her.
And
And,
that's
she
what happens when you
spins.
miss.
Oh, you little! And she goes for another swing on you, and in her rage, she overextends and
Yep.
stumbles past you, creating an easy opening to capitalize on.
Yep, and he'll 1-2 action surge punch.
Go
Goodness.
ahead.
Go to the metal.
15 still hits, 28 definitely hits, 17 hits,
Punch,
20
punch.
hits.
You're gonna have to do more than that to catch me, little girl.
Ooh.
Yep, as you
Alaris
just
is just watching this, by the way.
Yep. You just lay a series of pop, 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 pop down her shoulder and back as she stumbles past, throwing her further. And she cries out, kind of grabbing at her side. You've done 6 damage on each, she said?
He's holding back.
Yeah, fair enough.
And now you're just being
Still,
rude.
she's not looking rough per se, but she's already starting to breathe a little harder.
Yep, and he goes, there we go. That's the adrenaline. Time to learn some orcish rage. Let's go.
You hit like a truck.
Now
And you haven't hit yet. Let's go.
and that's
She takes a
rude.
deep breath and surges
Ooh.
forward. She takes a moment this time to center herself. You see her eyes focus and narrow. And this time she goes in not carefully, but without the unsteady, reckless speed of before. And the rapier finds a perfect gap in the leather armor that you're wearing for this and slides across your ribs. Not enough to cause you any lasting or worrying damage at this level, but enough that on somebody a little bit less weathered, a little bit less prepared and quick and ready to pull out of the way of a otherwise fatal blow, that would have been deadly.
Kind of looks down and goes, wow. You do have some accuracy. Let's keep going.
When it matters. And I've got a
It
few other tricks up my sleeve.
I'm gonna make sure you realize it matters now. I will not go easy on you.
Hello, sorry.
Fine, neither will I. However, she only gets the one attack because she does not have your string of actions or attacks, so.
He's just gonna settle to a stance, not a dodge or anything. He's just waiting.
Oh, you action surged.
She
Yeah.
attacks again, but it seems that, oh my god, what is with this? It seems that that momentary success has made her a little overconfident. She aims for exactly the same spot as before, but you know it's coming. You see it there, and you just
Catch the
slap, clap
Yep.
the blade, and push it to the side.
As he does, he'll just kind of take his hand and place it on her jaw and slam her into the ground.
Oh my god. Choke slam?
Basically.
Suplex.
Yep. I think that's basically a grapple check. So go ahead and roll athletics.
Wouldn't be a
It's
it'd
same
be a
thing as-
shove if it's like
Yeah.
to prone, but yeah, same thing.
Which is same thing as grapple.
Yeah.
So.
Same thing. She almost gets out of your way, but you just barely catch the corner of her jaw and slam her into the ground. Are you doing hard enough to like hurt?
No, just to knock her prone. And he's gonna
Alright,
kind of
just to
hold her
knock her
there and just remember your anger. Remember why you need to be able to use that weapon. I'm
Ah!
letting you learn. Get up. Fight me.
She kicks out at you mostly to make space rather than an attempt to connect or do damage. If you let her up, she gets up. If not, she tries to squirm out.
Yep, he'll let her up.
Alaris has found himself a bowl of peanuts in watching this.
She breathes, centers herself again, and realizes that this is a far more effective tactic than what she was doing before. As by centering herself, she finds not the same gap in the armor, but a similar chink, one but higher up on the shoulder. And this time the blade goes straight through.
Yep. And he'll hold it there while it's still inside of his shoulder and go like, now you're... Pull it out. Keep going.
She pulls the blade out and says, "Are you sure you're okay? I know I hit something hard. Do you need a
I
second?"
could
He's
I
hard to
could
hear.
break your arm in about 10 seconds. If you don't want that to happen, keep fighting.
All right then.
Quite
And
hardy.
she,
Yeah, and he'll Alaris will quiet out. He's quite hardy, don't worry about
taking that to heart, she whips around with the rapier and stabs it into another point. This time on your opposite arm, lower down, taking it between the bones on the forearm.
Yep. He resists all of this, so it's all halved.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
But with the one arm to the side, he'll go like, good, and he'll finally hit her back.
Go ahead.
God.
That one.
11 does not hit as she twists
Ducks out of the way.
unexpectedly out of the path of your fist.
Ah,
You do get
even better,
another
he'll-
attack if you don't want to. Yep, and
He'll go to like take out her knee.
she skips over that one and comes down with the rapier in another hard, heavy stab. She seems to be getting the flow of this a little bit more. She's settled down from that trembling, tearful anger and confusion that she'd started this fight with, and she's starting to focus out a lot more.
And this time, Kane will take one more attack.
And as the fist connects, she spits out a word and makes a sharp gesture. Make a quick dexterity saving throw.
All right.
As boom, suddenly fire bursts in your face and across your chest. So that's 7 fire damage, assuming you don't resist that. I'm pretty sure you don't.
Nope. Let's see her take that strength save for disarming.
All right.
Imagine the verbal component is fuck you, and the somatic component is a flip off.
Probably. But she was apparently a little distracted by casting this spell, and you managed to wrench the rapier out of her hand.
Yep, and he'll throw it behind him and go, anger is a fuel, use it properly or burn with it. And he'll take one more swing.
Go ahead. 14, she ducks out of the way and dives for the rapier.
And from there on, we can just let it go.
Yep.
Kane could pretty much win whenever he wants, so he's gonna
He
kind of do
can.
as much as he can to teach her and then just knock her out.
And at the end of it, Alaris will give him a round of applause.
And Maxwell goes over to kind of pick her up, get some water on her face, tap her cheeks to bring her out of it. And as he does so, he looks up at you and gives you a nod. Thanks for holding back. She needed that. The instruction
Yep.
too.
What else is a big brother for?
No kidding.
Make sure she used that anger to something useful.
Yeah, and
It's not going to
Alaris will
just
walk up.
simmer.
Yeah, Alaris will walk up. Hey, I don't suppose you could go a few rounds with me after I've done a tuning to this. And he
Just takes
will
one
hold up
deep
the
breath. Let's go.
Yeah, once I'm done attuning to it,
Speed
Yep.
up.
I'm doing as much as I can.
Can take a quick short rest.
Yeah. After an hour, Kane can short rest. Delaris can attune to the blade, or
Yeah.
rather the orb, whatever he
Orb.
wants it to be.
Yeah, he's gonna do a couple rounds as a long
The
Out of
blade
curiosity,
orb, the blorb.
the
Um,
blorb. Yeah.
out of curiosity, each of you in the courtyard go ahead and make a quick perception check.
Okay.
Sure.
21 for
Uh,
Kane.
John, you're rolling self again.
Yeah, I know.
20 for Calda.
Ooh.
21.
Oh my goodness. Yep. Okay. It just happens kind of towards the end of right at the end of the fight with Cayenne, before you guys take long rests or attunements or anything. Each of you at different times just happen to glance up towards the back of the inn, and you see a window, and you see Roy kind of watching from the window frame. He sees the three of you, notice him, and kind of pulls back a little bit further into the room and out of sight.
Kane removes his grip from his lightning javelin.
You weren't gonna throw that at him, were you?
I didn't take long enough to think about it.
But you considered it though.
I didn't take long enough to think about it.
Fair enough.
We're gonna remember property damage.
Yes.
Might be worth it.
Also, you probably would have calcified our only guide to the Howling Plains just on instinct.
Yeah, I feel like it's not too bad of it. So, that being said, Calda, I know, and he kind of points to Cayenne, not the best brotherly thing to do. Don't worry, I'm not going to do the same thing.
Just worried, you know.
If this is something that I've been a lot better to coming to terms with Cayenne over here. I already got to beat one absent parent. Now it's just a second.
I
He's not
trust
trying
you.
to trick me into caring about him.
Oh, hell no.
That being said, I think I am going to take tomorrow myself.
Yeah.
It's getting on towards evening at this point. It's growing somewhat dark. I'm pretty sure that you guys got to Adra a little bit closer to afternoon, unless I am completely forgetting.
Just a
Mhm.
small thing. While they were doing the training stuff,
Yes.
at least for maybe the beginning bit, I don't know, with him looking at the window, how timelines will happen. But also I might just have a short conversation with him, just as when everyone else leaves.
Yeah.
Just,
Let's go ahead and do that.
just what'd you cast before they came in?
He looks up at you. Cast. What makes you think I cast anything?
Small words and hand gestures.
A little something just in case somebody decided to try to jump me, shoot me, slit my throat. Something to give me forewarning.
Care to get into specifics, or
Not particularly.
so then? I know you're behind. Just you're. How to? I know that no one can ever be completely honest about things. Things held back, things that might just be better not to say, things like that. But if there's anyone out here in this world who has the best pin on you, I think it might be me.
Well, quite possibly. Though, I suppose with that in mind, there is one thing that I've been holding back on asking.
She looks.
I don't have any grandchildren, do I? I feel entirely too young for that.
Hmm. Well, I will let you know that a good way to keep on top of that is to, be around for the children you have, and potentially ask them yourself.
Yes, I am asking, well, one of them.
But
Are you and that half-elven fellow, he mentioned being a father, or...
Oh.
no, no.
I didn't think so, you didn't act like it, but I thought I'd best ask.
No, he has his own wife. He has a kid who's fairly young. I have not had any children.
Has Kane? I would rather not ask him myself, and I'm sure you understand why.
She nods.
He has.
No, no. She nods. No, I mean I understand why you don't want to ask him.
Ah.
No, as far as I'm aware. Although, something that might not be fully coming across is, well, let's just say me and him haven't exactly been around each other much in the time spent. Hasn't done much to keep relationships together. You're not the only one. But no. And as for his personal romantic interests, I'm pretty sure I am at zero liberty to tell, especially you, if there was anyone I was going to hold back on that with. But I don't think a child is in the cards for him in the near future. So you can go back to counting gray hairs as the number.
It's not that bad.
Yes.
Besides,
I know a good dye job when I see one.
I wouldn't dye it.
Insight.
Go ahead, insight.
Insight with guidance, she doesn't care. She's narrowing her eyes and making hand motions. 17.
Hard to read.
Can you make a perception check?
Go ahead and make a perception check.
How are his roots looking?
Perception check, but no guidance on this.
Ah, come on.
There's a little glint of silver at the temples.
Yeah, just like, oh, maybe you should look into it then.
Now, why would I want to do that? Ladies like the silver look. Told it's distinguished. You'll understand someday.
She blinks. Is that right?
From what I understand of it, I assume.
And what exactly would I be understanding eventually?
He kind of thinks, stops for a moment, looks at you. 10, 20 years.
She's just like keeping the glance. About certain things about men.
Well, the attraction to the more mature qualities, I suppose.
I would think that you would know how the blood interacts with at least the kid you were around for a bit more?
Half elven, yes, of course. But just because you have a longer lifespan, well,
Doesn't mean I mature any slower.
in a sense. Alright, should I put it down at 30 years? 40? It's a moot point.
Yeah,
Silly
she's just like
conversation.
keeping a glance, like, no, please go on. Would like completely dryly, not actually. So
He gives
do-
another charming little smile.
Is there anyone you don't like to put up the mask for? Let's say.
Well, all of life is a mask, really.
She nods. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised that you held that view, given everything. But John? Are you fucking playing Pokemon?
I'm sorry. I was just checking on something, and then it was just like I opened it up, and it's like, oh, it's on max volume of the line. I'm like, what the fuck?
I know that goddamn Pokénav sound.
I accidentally dropped it, and like it accidentally opened.
Anyways,
fuck.
She looks. It's like, but you don't think there's any place in life where the masquerade need to end?
The thing about masks, Alsana, is that one never really drops one. They just change from one to another. Do you think that you have a single true absolute self? Or do you just behave in certain ways in certain circumstances?
I'd be lying if I said there weren't things I like to play up a bit, you know. Personas, ideas, impressions put forward, of course. I'm just... I have to wonder, both myself and you, if thinking there's no room for no masks is some sad, true fact of life, or just what you tell yourself to make you feel better when you can't find it.
He gets up, heads over to the window, and looks out down at the courtyard for a moment. I've known a great many people. I've talked to them, I've performed for them. There's always a mask. So, why not make it an enjoyable one? For yourself and for others. Make the world a little brighter. In some ways.
So you'd be never willing to take it off.
I don't believe there is one to take off. It's masks all the way down. Well, if you're going to get philosophical about it at any rate.
And what layer does casual lying stop being an issue?
He looks over and says, what layer starts when one is a child and doesn't want to get in trouble for something done? Isn't that where that sort of thing starts? For anybody? Everybody? You show me a person who's never lied once in their life, and I'll show you a liar.
She nods. Yeah, there are facts you're stating that. I mean, I'm nearly certain there's not a single person in the world who has lived or will live that hasn't lied once. And I'm sure there's been no relationship between one and another where there was not a lie. But I'm just... let's say I'm postulating about the scenario where you feel like there is little to get in trouble for. a person you can perhaps meet that, in all truths of yourself, could be stated, even if masks are worn. And they would not be one to leave you for it, not be one to judge you. And even if they did, not on something that matters.
Was there a question in that, or were we just postulating?
I'm going to live much longer than you.
Of course.
Assuming that you don't get yourself killed in whatever antics you're usually up to.
And assuming the same of you.
My lifespan far outstretches yours.
I am aware. Do you think I begrudge you that?
No. I spent a fair chunk of yours. Because I have to divide yours. Mine will, in theory, go on much longer. I've spent a large chunk of your life being, let's say, not plussed with you. I'm starting to slowly understand what you are.
That must be a very interesting thing to understand about a person.
I'm suppose I'm asking. Do you ever see a point in your life where perhaps you could be straightforward with me? You would trust me enough to be able to... I could ask you a question that, wasn't loaded with anything and just was honest and straightforward, and you would have no reason to tell me anything other than the truth.
I would say that that's not so much a point in life or in a journey as a set of situations.
Fine then. What can I do to bring him up the most?
Depends on the question. Any question. Well, you could ask me what I had for breakfast this morning, and I will be quite honest with you. You could ask me any number of small things, how I feel about the weather, a book I recently read. I'd be honest. What, do you think I lie for fun and all the time without
No,
end?
I think you lie to keep yourself safe. And to not have bad effects on others.
Well,
when the lie would have a much more favorable result.
if
In your
that's
eyes.
if that's the case, then I believe you have your answer. A situation where there is no benefit to lying, there is no harm to telling the truth. And a question where that holds true throughout. He looks down out the window again. You see him step back slightly.
I was going to ask, are you sure you want to be in direct line of sight?
She was busy.
You're right, but I hear the sword clashings and...
Well, will we be heading out tomorrow morning for Veravale then?
I think so. To cap it off then. Do you think I could ever be a person you would see no harm in telling the truth to? Or do you think the world is such that no matter what, there might always be something that you could tell me that could be troublesome?
I've told you the truth, Alsana. In a number of things already. Some of those truths you took well, others not so much. But it has happened.
And I am just meeting you for the
Sorry.
first time in a while. Things
I've
like
told
this
you the
sudden-
truth. I've told you the truth as recently as yesterday, as recently as today, in this very conversation. Right now, in fact.
What spell did you cast before the talk we had?
A little something that alerts me if, shall we say, intentions go awry. Don't worry, it's
I know
rather
magic.
non-intrusive.
You can be specific. I'll know what you're talking about.
Go ahead and roll a persuasion check.
Five.
He kind of gives you a little smile. And unfortunately, it's the sort of thing that could be misconstrued.
All right. And she kind of gets up.
Know that I cast it in self-defense. Preemptive, but non-harmful.
Like I said, I think I have an understanding of what you are, how you act, things like that. You're not going to say anything that will surprise me in such a way that I'll lash out. Not in this particular instance. I won't
Still,
be plotting your
let's-
demise.
Now, can I be sure of that?
Just ask yourself, then. Is being able to trust your daughter worth the risk?
Given that one of them has some fairly clear intent towards me, he shrugs. It would be nice. But we'll see.
Then just think on it some more. More specifically, do you think it's worth trying to trust me?
That remains to be seen. Besides, I rather get the impression that once this is done, I think you might want to just wash your hands of me.
Then I guess I have more of a pin on you than you do on me. She walks out.
Yeah, Alaris is just sort of outside just sort of in the lobby area, just sort of attuning to the orc.
Still working on that thing.
Just attuning to it. I'd quickened it so I can do all of the things that I can now, but now I'm looking to turn it into my packed weapon. So yeah, I'm just about done with it. I'm just about done working on it.
Maybe we should
And
throw you
ready
into
for its
old
use.
abandoned dungeons more often if you're finding that kind of firepower via guidance of your god.
Maybe you should. Maybe there might be runoff for you as well.
Oh, he hasn't been returning my calls. I don't know if he'd be so generous.
I mean, who knows? Gods work in mysterious ways. And he gives sort of a smug smile at that.
Ugh. And she gives a smile back. We'll probably be heading out at some point soon.
Of course. So I take it your conversations with Roy have been going at least amicably?
She like immediately like breaks eye contact. I
There's no immediate urge to kill him?
no, there isn't.
No immediate urge to strike a bolt of lightning at him where he stands?
I got that out of my system the day I met him. Again.
Yeah. I heard that. Catharsis is good. It's just
I mean,
not right
in a way.
now. And he'll look towards the direction of Cayenne and everything, cause we're gonna need him.
yeah, yes, we just need him.
If you'll excuse me, I believe I'm scheduled to go a couple of rounds with your brother.
Good, make him jealous with that thing too.
Oh, I plan to.
Just every now and then, just switch between like great axe and longsword.
Yeah.
Maybe like big hammer too. Especially big hammer. That heaviest, largest, unwieldiest hammer you can.
I have a couple of ideas.
Yeah, have fun then. She waves.
Alaris, as you finish attuning and making it your packed weapon, you feel the world almost go gray and faded for just an instant. You feel Xanthus' presence behind you. Just barely out of the corner of your eye, you see the beak of his mask over your shoulder. Well done. Now, use it well. And with that, the world returns to normal as if nothing had ever happened.
The slow thumbs up comes into your vision.
Nice job, buddy. Achievement unlocked.
Yeah, for a moment, a little icon floats at the corner of the vision.
Speaking of video game ass weapons, Xanthus now gives Alaris achievements. Just it's like, oh.
Kill 2 goblins with 1 great axe swing. Yeah, I could probably get that in there.
Hey.
All right, you head on out.
Let's look at the
that's
Buster
awesome.
Sword.
Dude, yes. The gun blade, but without the gun.
I mean, just use the great sword stats, so...
Yeah.
Okay, no, do
No,
a
it's like
great
a
axe, but the middle of it is a crossbow.
Of the gun blade, of just how there's like that the angle of like a crossbow handle, but like at the end of it is just like a giant ass sword.
Well, it's Sephiroth's sword.
Oh god, yeah, just a Masamune. It's just like ridiculously long.
Anyways.
You said I could fuck around with it aesthetically, so.
Aesthetically, yes. Functionally, no. I'm not giving you a sword with a 30-foot reach.
Okay, yeah, obviously not. But
Yep. It's simple and martial weapons as written in the book. You've got the 5-foot reach on the ones that have 5 foot. You have 10 foot on the ones that have 10 foot. That's it. So
okay, so just
everything else is pure flavor. It's not going to affect your functionality.
Yeah,
okay.
I know it's not gonna affect functionality. I was kind of stretching it with the Masamune.
Functionally, it's like a glaive, but in reality, it's just a really long dagger.
It's a really long dagger.
Fuck off.
The fuck?
I just like to imagine at some point, like, Alaris turns it, like, into the Buster Sword, and Kane's like, no, fuck you, that's not a weapon. No, fuck off.
Can make like a
I designed this in my
beam
sleep
saber.
device.
Okay. Keep going.
Alright. Yes.
Amazing.
So, Alaris, you head out, and you have a bout with Kane. Do you guys want to roll a few things just to see how it goes?
No, my body's giving up soon.
All right. So, for the evening hours, you spend it on a nice duel until it gets just dark enough that even with dark vision, it's like, it's rather dim. Let's head inside.
Yeah, and I want to test the concussive blast on him.
Alright, go for it.
Yeah, go ahead and
so-
roll the thing.
Oh, damn.
Wrong one. There we go. Ah, you missed. Get fucked.
Oh, of course.
Is that
Because you
Kane
have
without a
focus
shield?
armor.
He's got
He's
blend.
he's back in the heavy armor
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
because Alaris has slashing weapons, so he needs his armor back.
Yes.
With that, though, everybody goes to bed for the night. Those of you who had not had rooms, rent them. Elaris, of course, is welcome back at the bookshop, as is Alsana, as she had been staying there previously.
Also, let's go pass out on a desk at the bookshop.
Okay. Kane
Alaris
and
is gonna
Calda.
experiment with like the fell steel orb for a little longer before passing out.
All right. Kane, you can share a room with Maxwell, Calder with Cayenne if you'd like. Just for the sake of splitting up rooms and costs and beds and all that. And with that, the next morning comes as the 10th day of the month of quietude dawns clear, bright, already warm.
Small note, Alsana will, in the morning, turn into a cat for purely the purposes of spooking Nyx.
Okay. Nyx comes by, thinks that you are the store cat, gives you a little scritch behind the ears, absentmindedly, as she heads towards the breakfast nook. And then you give her a spook.
Yes.
But everybody reconvenes at the inn, either for or maybe after breakfast, depending on where certain people eat. Roy is present, sitting quietly at kind of the end of the table, a little unobtrusive, a little space between him and the others. He seems to be behaving himself.
And we'll kind of just head down to the table while everyone's there and just be like, I'm gonna go clear my head. Meet me and Resmond when you guys are ready to go.
And
I
Resmond,
need some time alone.
time alone. What, like, not going to Veravel?
No, I need to separate my physicality before I can separate my emotions.
She like tilts her head.
You'll
What?
find me at the end. Relax.
Just, if you want to give more detail, we can talk later. Just,
No, I'm heading out in like 10 minutes. I need some time alone, Osana.
she kind of like looks over. Calda, Alaris, can you?
Nope.
I'm
Just-
not asking them to go with you. Is there something I'm missing here? Can you corroborate any sort of him having some more direction other than just kind of wandering off towards Resmond?
He's been there. We spent 8 days there.
That's
trust
fine.
her
You
enough
still
to-
need to get through the woods.
I'll go around them if I need to.
That's gonna be more than a few days. I think we'll get to Redmond before you do at that point, Kane.
Either way, I'll be there before you guys are. You guys have to go to Verivale first. I just need to...
Fine, fine.
See you later. Cayenne. Be smart. Hello.
It's kind of also kind of like just like taps Cayenne on the shoulder. I don't know what equivalence I am, but I can fill in for him.
Okay, I guess. We'll stick close.
need anything in this particular instance with the particular subject at hand, let me know.
Yeah, be fine. You guys finish up breakfast? And
that.
part ways in Adra, and you see Kane heading west out of the city before you turn east towards Veravale.
And with that, I head out.
Get rest, Conrad. If at this point anybody needs a 5-minute break, take one. If not, we'll keep going.
I'm good. Go to.
I'm good.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.
See ya. Feel better.
All right. So with that, let's go ahead and change music to something else because it's been a little while. That's a little too. Da, da, da. You can tell I'm great at this. I'm doing my best.
You're doing fine. I was half expecting a amazing plan, but
Yeah.
We're not quite there yet.
But yeah, after getting held in an arm bar by Kane for nearly 2 hours before him leaving, there's no feeling in his arm, but he still has the comically large double bass strapped to his back, and he shows up to meet with everyone.
what in the God's damned?
You told me to fuck with him. So I fashioned it into a comically large double bass. He put me in an arm bar for 2 hours.
I hope you're not going to be trudging that thing all the way to Veravale.
I'm not, no. I'm gonna change it into something more sensible. And he changes it into the regular heavy crossbow.
Well, is everyone else good to start traveling?
Yes, I suppose so.
Yep.
Right.
So I was looking to the 3 NPCs as well.
Kyan and Maxwell nod. Roy says, "Whenever you're ready."
Alright. We'll be off
You
then.
know that from about here to Veravale is just an easy half-day's journey. You could get there just afternoon. If you took your time, you might get there a little bit later, but it's an easy, short, fairly pleasant walk, all things considered. As you know there's a road to take, you know the way. It is a bright and beautiful summer's day, though it is getting a little bit warmer as the days and the seasons progress.
Ever been to Veravale, Kyan? Maxwell?
Never, no. Nah, never been this far east, actually.
You'll have to apologize for needing to restate everything you've probably told Kane and Calda by now, but
They tell you who they are, where they're from, a little bit of backstory. Roy is kind of walking towards the back of the group, but with you guys. Partway through the journey, he just kind of takes out a lute and starts strumming. Not a full song, just a little chord here, a little chord there.
also I was watching Kyan's expression.
Kyan, go ahead and do an insight.
Alright. Did she get guidance on this?
You are deliberately doing this, so you're in a situation where you can cast spells.
I guess I need it. 12.
Good enough. She's staring kind of fixedly forward. It seems she's more intent on ignoring anything he does than on fixating on it.
Okay.
But you guys head down the road. Near the end, you start to see, built kind of into the hills that roll down from the mountains to the north, a sprawling city. It doesn't seem that there is any significant wall. Instead, the houses and buildings on the outskirts just kind of flow down the slopes and hills, almost to the bank of the river itself. There is a large, decorative arched bridge that crosses the true water as the road leads further into the city, beginning to branch off more on the other side, splitting to form several smaller roads, like a river itself and various tributaries.
Oh, I missed this.
And Alsana, looking even from here, you can see kind of higher on one of the hills towards the center of the city, the large, rounded outside of the conservatorium.
Mm. Also, I was just keeping this happy, like vaguely happy look on her face. Maybe floating up a bit to get a good view.
Mm-hmm. And it is a welcome view. Familiar. The conservatorium itself is a huge building, several stories tall. It is almost circular in form, though there are various wings that jut out from the sides of it. There are large arched windows, and almost the entire lower portion seems to have a not anything like a deck, but it's almost, the outer shell of it is almost made up of open arches and pillars, so that you walk into this shaded over area before entering the actual doors to the inside of the conservatorium itself. A little bit Colosseum on the outside, just a little bit.
All right.
Look at that. There are various sculptures on the outside of famous scholars, of leaders, of figures from history, myth, legend, gods and heroes. You head inside. As always, it's busy. The entire city is busy, milling with people of various races and sizes, though you notice looking around that the population seems to trend rather more heavily towards the elvish side. And as you head into the conservatorium, the first thing that any of you see is the large open atrium at the center. There seems to be either a roof of glass or of some other clear material, perhaps even magic, that lets in sunlight from above. And that sunlight shines down onto a large, twisting tree forged from copper with gilded leaves. The leaves rustle and clink very slightly as a soft magical breeze blows through them. There are rings of balconies, 5 stories of them, surrounding this center atrium in the tree. There are benches to sit on. There are people walking softly, quietly, murmuring with each other. The sounds are a combination of the clinking of the tree and soft, quiet conversation, whispers, the sounds of pages turning, the occasional footsteps treading overhead as you stand underneath the next story's balcony,
Welcome
looking
to
up.
the ASM archives.
So, You guys have entered the conservatorium. What would you like to find?
Oh, it's been too long. I probably spent an entire year of my life here.
Hmm.
Just kind of like looking around, and just like almost like a little like just spin, and just looking upwards at all the
Candy
everything.
shop? So like a kid in the candy shop. Sort
Yeah,
of thing.
pretty much.
Yep. Alsana, you know that just about anything that is written is likely to be found here. There is a practice in Veravale and in the conservatorium whereby people will, if anybody comes in with a book that is not owned by the conservatorium, then they will take it on loan. Their scribes will produce a copy of it. And very often, the original of the book will remain in the conservatorium while the copy is actually given back. Some exceptions have been made. But after years, centuries of doing this, their collection is practically unparalleled, at least in this part of the world.
Oh, I'd love to spend another year here with the new clarity of mind recent events have given, but that's for after we're done our objectives.
Yes.
No fair warning, if I suddenly disappear once this is all said and done, you know where to find me.
Of course.
Well, if there's anything for where we're going or anything close to it, it'd be here.
Roy kind of speaks up here. This isn't quite my speed. Would it be all right if I found a nearby inn, booked rooms for everybody for the night?
I think that would be
I'd
very
appreciate
helpful.
it.
Cayenne immediately says, "We'll go with him."
And she
Keep an eye
also
on you.
like gives a glance like, are you sure of that?
Just... She gives you a serious look back and a nod. She leans close. Want to make sure he doesn't vanish on us.
It's appreciated. But just don't vanish him yourself, alright? She kinda like,
I'm not going to.
I'll hold you to that. Thank you.
We should probably hand her sending stone. For the time being.
Yeah, that might be in the cards.
Yeah.
And also I'll take it into her pocket and hand it over
If
to
there's-
her.
Yeah, if there's anything suspicious going on with Roy, we could just hang in.
If you need our direct help, because I'm magical, so if there's anything that I can do to help track the bastard down, should he find himself scarce, I very much don't think he will, but precautions are very good. You just
It's always good to take precautions.
Hopefully you'd be better at scrying than the last person I paid to do it.
she gives like a look like satiate my
Go to
curiosity. Who did you
Food
pay
Stairs, did you?
to scry?
Mage and Bellet. Supposed to be good at it, said it didn't work.
Does she know about this at all? Any bells ringing for her?
I mean, you can go ahead and... Oh, heck, what are you looking for? Like a specific mage who might have done this, or...
Yeah. Has she heard of it? Has she heard of any like powerful mages in that area, and B, any notorious mage con artists in that area?
Yeah, like one of those weird,
Roll
like a
history.
weird soothsayer who says they know stuff.
All right, history. She guesses herself. 21.
21? Nah, never heard of anything like that. You know that sometimes mages will offer their services for hire, with various spells. Usually it's the little things like cantrips and stuff. It's possible that Cayenne generally found somebody who knew the scrying spell, or at least had a magic item for it.
Like a
You also
scrying
know that
rack.
sometimes spells just don't work.
Yep. She just thinks her track. It's like, usually you want to look for some sort of renown for those higher up kinds of magical services.
Yeah, noted.
If you need looking in on something else, I can't fully do it right now, but I'm actually today looking to perhaps remedy that. So
Yeah, you should probably prepare
Okay,
scrying spell just in case.
We'd better go. He's already heading towards the entrance.
yeah, just keep him away from any
Bye.
librarians, I swear to goodness.
With that, the 3 NPCs walk out the doors to find you guys lodging for the night. Now, those who remain in the library,
Yes.
what are you looking for? What do you like to find?
I'm looking for whatever also
Alright.
Howling Plains?
yeah, Howling Plain stuff.
I think dedicating one of you to just the Howling Plains is an idea, but given the nature of information on it, we might be
Here for a while.
here for a while. It might be more worth going for adjacent topics. Maybe any histories in the area. Not directly the Howling Plains, but things that may be happening around, I don't know, Bahara or Resmond,
Yeah, I could do that.
or like the southern part of the Maramore. Knolls, Incorporeal Undead, and Hags are the 3 that Roy has disclosed to me.
Okay, so I'll
So
look
if we
around
run into any of the 3, it might be worth being armed with information on them.
Yes.
As well, just magical wellsprings of power, though that might be more my alley. I'll take that one.
All right. So I'll say for the ease of everything, each of you can pick one tight focused area, and I'll have you make an investigation roll for general research, for searching things out, for compiling and understanding information, as it is intelligence.
Okay.
So, each of you tell me your topic. Let's kind of go down the list. Calda?
Knowles.
Okay, Calda is gonna go look up Knowles.
What kind of
Also-
knolls?
Regular Knowles.
Stop.
All about Knowles. Grassy and otherwise. Alsana is looking at magical well springs of power.
And
And
I'll be looking up just general Howling Plains and
Pick one. Pick
incorporeal
one.
undead,
Okay.
since that seems like a more interesting topic.
yep, that's
Oh,
up your
yes.
Xanthus alley.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's up my
Alsana
alley.
might. She's going for basically history and lore and stuff around that area with the magical wellsprings.
All right. We'll see how you guys roll.
Yeah, I guess just more lore of the area without being in this place in particular, and this and that, or whatever.
Okay. So go ahead and each of you give me that investigation check, please.
If she puts her glasses on, can she read the spines of books better as she's looking?
Dang it, I got a 1.
Yep. It was gonna happen.
Oh, dear gods.
Yeah. This is about
Yep.
on par.
I'll say that, yeah, you can take the glasses advantage for finding topics, but depending on your first number, it may or may not affect your
The Eyes of the Eagle.
compilation.
All right.
That's
Eyes of
perception.
the Evil are a little more Yeah, it's a weird distinction. I'm
Yeah.
gonna say it's maybe in Alsana's case, maybe it's not so much reading the spines of books from afar, it's reading the text on the pages, and reading some of the more faded stuff, because not all of these books are pristine.
Right.
You know that they are fairly regularly inspected, taken back, recopied once they get too old. But there's always that little twilight zone time period.
And
where
with
it's
so
like,
many, they can slip through the
yeah.
cracks.
Oh yes, very
Um,
easily.
All right. So it is advantage investigation.
Yep.
Can
Go
she
ahead
be
and do that.
casting guidance on herself with that too?
This is a place where you can cast guidance on yourself or one other.
All right. Yep. She'll stick with herself because, quite frankly, there's no helping those. Um,
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay.
Roll a 4.
Give them
Roll a
guidance.
4. Fuck.
Give them guidance. 26. All right. Elaris.
she has been here.
Yeah, Alsana, you know this place a little too well. Also, magic is in general your area of interest, and you've probably searched through these particular stacks before, just never quite with this kind of focus or pre-knowledge. Calda and Alaris, unfortunately, you get a little bit lost. You have to spend a fair bit of your first
Let's ask
portion of
somebody
time
nice. Yeah.
Yep. trying to get directions, trying to find out, and then you get there, and it's a little bit more. What you end up in the same section, and it's like the generalized bestiaries.
At some point, Alsana leans out like one of the windows of the towers and looks down onto the street. And, are you getting ice cream?
That might be at a point after you've gone through like half a dozen books, each, and realize that all you're getting on gnolls and ghosts are like little footnote sections in the middle of
Yes.
everything else.
No, it's frozen yogurt.
I love the idea of frozen yogurt, of the humanoid ability to take something and ruin it just a little bit, just so we can have more of it.
However,
It's not
Alsana,
ice cream, but it's just worse enough that we can have more of it.
Alsana, you find some really unusual, somewhat esoteric, somewhat old tomes. The sorts of things that are written in a style and syntax of common that gets a little archaic at times, just for word choice and occasional spellings.
She might also just ask, because we have the Helm of Comprehend language, right?
I believe Kane might have that.
Damn it.
If we
He
could,
walked off with the bag.
I mean, if we knew we were going to Maryville for research, but
This isn't a language thing.
all right.
This is just a mark of, this is some old stuff. This has been
Okay,
here a
okay.
while. I'm not telling you it's difficult. Don't worry about that.
Okay.
You did not roll low enough for it to be difficult.
Okay.
Amazing.
If you had rolled a 1 or a 2 or maybe just like a 5 or something, then it would have been, okay, this isn't a language. You're having trouble with the syntax. You can't.
All right.
No, not a worry. You find some books that kind of deal a little bit in the history of the area, a little bit in legends of the area, very old ones in particular.
Exactly what she's looking for.
And some of those make mention of the Howling Plains as being once a place of great power, a place of splendor and plenty, a place where there once thrived, legend has it, an entire kingdom. Once upon a time, it practically ruled the world, or at least this portion of it. It had the mightiest mages. I think we just lost John. It had the most fearsome warriors. It had powerful kings and queens, rulers of all kinds. And at its center, it had a power source of some sort. A place where the strong became stronger, the sick were healed, the cursed were renewed. A place of unending wisdom and might. And a place that eventually led to the kingdom's downfall. Legends vary. They're sketchy, a little vague from one iteration to another as you jump from book to book and scroll to scroll. The one thing that they all agree on is that at one time this kingdom prospered, and then the kingdom corrupted, and then the kingdom fell all at once. Like a tower built of loose stones, where the key of them all is knocked out from the bottom and everything else collapses. And it's said from then on, the plains were cursed, haunted. The worst of beings moved in where once, it is said, the best ruled. Or perhaps they were there before and simply were the only ones who saw fit to remain. The legends vary. Some say that it was a powerful hag or witch or sorceress who did the deed. Others say that it was invading armies. Others that the kingdom rotted and collapsed and fell from within. Still others that it was overturned by rebellion against the corruption. The details don't matter so much. What is grabbing your attention is the occasional but repeated mention of some sort of wellspring, some sort of powerful center that conferred blessings. It doesn't give geographic locations, only that the Howling Plains were then considered the center of the world, and the wellspring was the center of the Howling Plains, though whether that's literal or a little metaphorical, unclear. However, it is said that the greatest city of that kingdom was built around it,
I was about to ask.
and ruins are known to litter the plains. So you might, with that investigation, maybe decide that the more ruins you find altogether, the more likely you may be to be getting close.
And the biggest pile of ruins is probably our location.
Perhaps. I'm gonna say with that bloody natural 20 and more, you also find something interesting. When you came upon these, you sort of just like grabbed the entire, almost the entire row of books once you determined that from this book to this book on topic, grab. As you're working your way down them, you come across one at the end that is blank. It is small, about the size of maybe a personal journal or notebook, not a huge, heavy-bound tome, filled with clean, unmarked parchment, except for one word on the very first page. Hello.
Is the author fucking named Riddle or what?
What's that? You hear from your hip? You got a riddle? It's been a while.
Oh.
I was just gonna give a talking
No.
skull. I get a talking book.
Yep, and she just like pulls out York and puts it on there. Oh, right. Sorry, things have been happening. You probably heard the whole thing with my father.
Yeah, it seemed kind of personal. Didn't want to interrupt.
Opinion on him out of curiosity?
Wish I had some popcorn. Wish I could eat. Wish I had hands. What's it like?
Weird. Benefits and deficits.
Pretty interesting. It'd be nice to be able to move on my own. Anyhow, no opinion on him. Seems okay. Seems weird.
All right. So you're a talking inanimate object?
I mean, if you want to go and start calling names, I suppose.
I mean nothing by it. Simply stating. But
Yeah, and you're a talking animate object. How do you think about that, huh?
you're right. Do you have faith in yourself to perhaps converse with another?
I mean, as long as it can talk.
Can he
I'm
see?
talking with you.
I suppose so.
I've got pretty good faith in that, unless I'm hallucinating everything, in which case this has been a crazy ride, and it could have been a little more interesting during a whole section.
uh, you have something behind you. I really need to look into it. You wouldn't happen to have any new riddles, would you?
I don't think I've used this one. So, what is it that men love more than life, fear more than death? The rich want it, the poor have it, the miser spends it, and the spender saves it.
Nothing?
Damn it! Oh, come on, I thought really hard about that one.
It was a good one. Unfortunately, there have been other people who've thought really hard about it too.
Huh. Wonder if I heard it somewhere. Right back to the thinking board. Anyhow, yeah, you wanted to talk, right? Or you wanted me to talk? Who do you want me to talk to? Want me to talk to your dad?
Oh, I'd like to see that at some point, but no. I have a horrible inkling. Here, can you see traditionally?
Kind of.
All right.
I can sense things.
Do you see this book in front of me?
Yeah, it's a book.
Can you read books?
And now I'm forced to confront a question I had never considered. Can Yorick read?
Yep.
1 second. The dice decide. No.
All right, then I'll confer back and forth. Let's give this a try, shall we? And Alsana will pull out a quill.
Mhm.
And kind of give a look around. See if there's any other librarians that might be looking disapprovingly at her.
Give it a perception check.
Right. She'll guidance herself. Not advantage, but perception. 21.
Right. You are for the moment alone, but you can hear a little soft movement on, like, the other side of one of the shelves you're near. You're kind of at a work table stationed near a window. There are people nearby, but no eyes on you.
Well, let's hope it works like in that book I read. And then the ink just disappears, and she writes hello under it.
The ink does not disappear. Just kind of shines wet on the page. And then more words appear beneath your hello. They read, "Who are you?"
She puts in, "My name is Alsana," and she's writing small if she can.
Yeah.
I have a friend here named Yorick.
Alsana and Yorick. It is nice to meet you.
And to who do I owe the pleasure?
My name is Nettie.
Give a type out for me.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's just a simple,
Alright.
somewhat old-fashioned in our time, but simple name.
Yep. Nettie. I have. Alright. What are you exactly, Nettie?
Comes back. It's hard to explain. A memory? A fragment? Soul? Spirit? I was trapped in this book. I don't know how long.
And Alsana is like lightly reading this out back to Yorick as well.
Tell her what year it is.
Perhaps a question is better suited first. Do you know what year it is?
Nettie comes back with, "No, but last I remember, It was as Ariel goes searching for something. 1 second, I am consulting my ancient tomes.
All right. They don't
Does
talk
work
at you
around
as
me.
much.
What year? Where's my timeline? Frick. I don't have to get into this very often.
Hmm.
I'm sometimes not prepared. When is the thing? It is right about... Oh, there it is. Okay. Whoops. Nope. Okay, I was mixing it up with something else for just a second. It is, she writes down the year 647 TE, Third Era, which is you guys' current era, but it's about 350 some years before you guys' current time.
And Alsana writes in, I'm sorry to say if this comes dramatic to you, but out here it is
999,
Yep.
Third Era. There's a little bit of a pause, long enough that maybe you start to wonder if there's going to be a response at all. And then just a tiny little oh, followed by longer than I thought. I couldn't tell. Where am I? The book? Where?
She types in, I found you in a large library in Veravale, beside a section of the beside books on the Howling Plains.
I'm familiar with the plains and know of Veravale. I wish I knew how I came to be here.
She'll just, I don't know myself, but I'd be happy to help you find out.
I meant the book, not me in the book. I know how that happened.
Oh. Would you be willing to tell?
There's a longer pause, and then words start to appear, almost fading in line by line, as if the pause had been the writing almost, or the appearance, or the thought behind the words. And they read, I was ill. I needed help. I went to make a deal. It went poorly. The witch tricked me. I'd like to be free again, even if the world has changed so much.
She writes,
I'm not sure how. I might need to be near the witch, the book to be near the witch, for all I know.
She writes back, luckily, I find myself heading to the plains soon. If you have more information on the witch, I'd be more than willing to track her down and get you out.
She is a green hag named Gladys. She was, I think, new as a hag back then, young. But it's been so long.
Does Osana know how the hierarchy, quote unquote, of hags goes? Arcana,
Would
nature?
I'm trying to decide if it's Arcana or Nature. Roll Nature.
It's the
Um,
same for her, anyways.
Okay, fine.
Guidance that she thinks about it.
Hmm.
Nature. 14.
You know a little bit about hags, but nothing specific about hierarchies of types. You wouldn't be able to sit there and like list them all off in order.
Yep.
You do know that a younger hag less powerful than an older one, a lone hag less powerful than one in a coven.
Does she know Green Hag is like at least like the generic quote unquote hag?
Yeah, you've read and heard more stories about green hags than any other. They are the go-to hag depiction in any sort of performance or art or anything like that.
All right. Yep. That works for me. And she also write, I know someone who had an encounter with a hag recently. Maybe we'll be lucky and it's the same one.
She writes back, perhaps. I could use some luck. I've been short on it for a long time, apparently.
She writes in, well, count me as your first bit.
I would be happy to.
I'll be happy to get you out. But you owe me stories once I do.
Stories I can provide.
I don't have...
They are a small price to pay.
I can't talk forever right now. She kind of like looks over her shoulder again.
Quick perception check.
Do.
Yeah, still in the clear.
All right.
Nobody's looking.
Yep. Yep. I can't talk forever right now. But is there anything you can do from where you are other than talk? Can you influence the book in any way?
I can make words. I can clear words. That is all.
Well, at least we won't run out of space then. I'm going to probably have to try to get you out of this library.
How flattering to be in a library. It must have been when I was entertaining myself telling stories.
I'll have to hear them sometimes. She's thinking, in like with her own knowledge, how would she? What would she know about getting this book out of this library? She's been here a lot.
Yes, you've been here a lot. It's not like there's door security that pats people down as they leave. It's not like there's any like magical tagging system that'll set off an alarm if the book leaves. It could be as simple as checking the book out with your credentials, though you know that they will take a major hit when you don't return with it.
Yes, that's. She's very concerned about that.
Alternately, it could be as simple but as risky as just stuffing it into like a loosely folded bit of clothing and trying to walk out with it and hope that nobody thinks you look suspicious. Or if you've got any other tricks, let me hear them. But you do remember now that the bag of holding walked off to Resmond this morning.
Mm-hmm. If she can she go find the other two?
Sure. You know about where they were searching. They probably, if they wandered off, they probably come back to it. So
And she'll also just give a quick jot in the book. Just, I'm gonna try my best to get you out. If it's, you might not hear from me for a bit, but I am very intent on getting you free.
let me know if you think of anything I can help with.
I think your information will be very valuable in our journey. But until then, and she just does a little, like, sign off almost.
Mhm.
And but she'll go find Calder and Lars. Alright,
Yeah.
so can I pull you to a side real quick?
Sure.
Sure.
And she kind of like gets, she tries to, I assume she has a spot she knows is pretty out of the way.
Yeah.
Just, so I may or may not have found a book with someone's soul stuck in it.
Oh.
Okay.
They may or may not have been cursed by a hag who may or may not be in the Howling Plains.
Okay, so we need to kill this hag and free his soul.
Her best guess, her name is Nettie, by the way, is
Okay.
that once we get to the hag, who she last knew as being a fresh-faced hag in about 300 years ago, so she's probably had time to build up power, that getting her close to it might help. Maybe we just have
Okay.
to bind her and interrogate her. Maybe once she's dead, the curse is lifted. I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, is that book part of the library?
Yes, it is, and this brings me to my second part. I need to get it out, and I refuse to check it out because we are not bringing it back if it suddenly disappears when when the curse is broken, and I am not taking that hit to my credentials.
Okay. Then why don't we just put it in one of our bags?
Because if we get caught, that is also a hit to my credentials.
What if we put it in either Alaris or mine's bag, since we're probably not coming back here unless we're very interested, and then that can be a hit on our credentials.
I suppose. Yeah, I think that will work. Actually, you know what? Alaris, you can turn that weapon into anything you really well please, right?
Yeah. Anything that can be held in one or two hands.
Could you, in theory, turn it into some sort of weapon that could secretly slot this book?
Perhaps.
GM?
It depends on how you mean. Slot the book, like something that can hold the book, something you can
Yeah.
slide the book inside.
Yes.
Yes.
I'd say you think of that and present me with a possibility, and I'll tell you.
Like maybe like like if I go into shield mode, have there be a slot behind the shield for it.
Probably.
Yeah, I can do that.
Can call it like just real quick. Just fucking, I'll just spell detect magic on the book just to see if anything like
See if Ulsan is crazy.
scrying- like no scrying based, just to see if someone takes a book if they have magic on it to like track where it went.
Interesting. Okay, go ahead and give me a click on there. Let's see. Presence of magic within 30 feet. Of course, all of you have various magical items. The book is magic. I don't think it's a specific school. It's kind of one of those weird homebrewy things.
Okay, I'm just looking if there was any divination on it.
Yeah. Nope. I don't believe there's any divination on it.
Okay.
Though this is putting me down a weird train of thought. Do you guys think if a soul was bound to something that would count as necromat?
Soul Cage is necromancy.
Yeah.
Yeah, necromancy.
Yeah, there might be a little twinge of that in there.
Okay. Cold's gonna like just hold the book and just go, well, there doesn't seem to be anything that would track it, so I
Oh no, don't worry, their security isn't that advanced here.
then we're I feel like we can do it.
I've taken some books out on my own. I've put them back, but I've taken them.
Then we can do it. Do they do like logs of each book? There's
Ye-
a lot of fucking books here.
Yeah, there is, so that's why I recommend taking it out rather than having someone else kind of put their name under it.
Yeah, we can just.
So at worst, you'll be banned, but I'll also be leaving somewhat separate from you. And she like looks
Yeah.
out. I don't want to be seen too much with you.
I'll be banned.
Like I said, it would hurt my soul if this place was, if it kicked me out.
Okay. I'll be banned.
Or you won't. You probably won't be. Although-
Okay, then I'll look at with the fucking book.
Well, I mean, Alaris is the one with it in his shield, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, well, Lars can look at the fucking book.
All right, fine. All right. On top of that, I also found a bunch of information on the Howling Plains themselves, and apparently the previous civilization that used to be there and benefited from a large wellspring of magic that aided in intelligence and wisdom and strength of various kinds.
That's fair. I found a storybook that I thought was on Knowles. I misread it.
You know, it's a kind of hill as well. But that being said, when we're there, although, I have been warned by our guide that ruins are not the most safe place at all. The more ruins we find, and the more ruins of a large capital city we find, the more likely we're going to find the well, probably in the dead center.
Well, we can explore the ruins instead of sleeping in them. So.
Yes, that too, just what we're going against. I've dealt with ghosts before, but actually, that might actually prove rather useful. Hopefully we can get the hag thing out of the way first. Maybe not.
Depends on what's on the way. If we find the hag before we find the ruins, then
I
we're
need to
good.
ask-
And if we find the ruins,
Yes. Also, I need to ask Nettie exactly what she can do, so... Because if she turns
Okay.
out to be this badass warrior, then, I mean, we're fine there. But if she's a young and upcoming
Prominent.
wizard with a few cantrips, then...
why don't we take the book and then we can continue the conversation with Nettie?
Good idea. I'm going to check out some of my own books as well, just for more information.
Okay, Alaris, take this. Walk out.
Yeah. Then he'll slot it into the shield
All right.
and slot the shield on his back, Captain America style. And just walk out.
All right. For rolling nonchalance, make it a deception roll.
As he's leaving, Elsana taps him with guidance.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah,
Give me a
Cald
sec.
will be going out just conversing with him, trying to help him a little bit.
Okay. Do you have a proficiency in deception?
Wait,
Uh,
fuck! Wrong one. Never mind. I have persuasion.
I have
I
deception.
can't read.
Okay. Then it's not at advantage.
Okay.
But you do get the D4 guidance.
Okay.
Oh,
21. All right. You stroll out of the library, a tense bundle of nerves deep inside your chest, but the picture of ease and casual comport.
you
as
think of
you-
dad jokes through your head as you keep your cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
As you chat with Calda and hope that nobody notices you walking out with a shield you did not walk in with, and the book beneath the shield. But
Yep.
nobody stops you. You exit the conservatorium.
Also, we'll check out some of those Howling Plain books she was reading.
Mhm. All
even
right.
even just for the day, maybe.
Yeah.
Does she see any librarians or people there that she knows from before?
One more perception check.
All right. Get guidance on that as she's kind of glancing around. 19.
All right, you glance around and you notice a familiar face dressed in the conservatorium robes of pale off-white, trimmed with a brighter gold. You recognize this person as Halamar Valis, an older elf, somewhat ageless in appearance, but equivalent to human middling years, maybe a little bit more.
Male, female?
Non-binary, so they.
All right.
They're currently kind of. They have an armful of books and are putting them back on a shelf nearby, kind of clearing off a nearby work table that somebody had finished up with. They have not noticed you, however.
Yep. She kind of walks up behind. It's like, excuse me, I'm looking for a book about a certain elf librarian who's a bit too strict on return policies.
Turns, looks at you, and you see a little surprised expression cross their face, along with a smile. Well, this is a face I didn't expect to see. Welcome back.
And it's very, very good to be back.
Taking out some books again, I see.
Yes, a particular field of research.
I trust that after that one conversation, you're still cognizant of the return rules.
She nods. It might only be for the day, don't worry.
Good to know I made an impression.
It's more of convenience at this point, but yes, you may have. How have you been?
Oh, the usual. I can't say there's been anything of great import or concern. We did get a load of new books in fairly recently, mostly on the topics of recent history and treatises on the war between Umbar and Releg, and somebody wrote an interesting little analysis on that, comparing it to previous wars, and the Golden War in particular.
What does she know about the Golden War?
You probably know general information, but go ahead and roll just a quick history check.
Casual 24.
Casual 24. You know that it took place about 100 plus a little bit years ago, and was a war between Umbar and Azora, and was over the territories of the Golden Hills, Pastureland, really similar in a lot of ways to the war over the Emerald Fields and farmland there. You know that Azora eventually won that and kept control of the Golden Hills. So, who knows if it'll go differently.
Unfortunately, a lot of land disputes going on now and again. Also, out of character, what kind of elf?
You know what? I had not pinned that down.
Alright. But like, full-blooded elf, yeah?
Yeah, full-blooded elf.
Alright.
Yeah. Let's go high elf, maybe one of the sub-variants, like sun elf or whatever it is from one of the books.
Yep. Alright. Just nods like, yeah, I've been doing a bit of, stuff myself. I guess I've been, about a more interesting, life, I guess? Less book reading, unfortunately.
That's a shame.
I fully intend to get back into it once tasks are done, but I found myself working for are you familiar with the Shadowed Threshold organization?
I've read quite a few things on them. mysterious group, even to us.
She nods. You're not a sleeper agent, are you?
Would I tell you if I were?
Insight check.
Insight check. Go ahead. She's teasing. They're teasing, sorry.
Yep. And just crosses her arms like, you'd be the first one I've met.
A worrying notion.
You tend to run into them when you're working for them, but let's just say things have been interesting, and I've been on a bit of a road trip as of late.
Well, I do hope that you are learning a great deal, even if it doesn't come from the pages of a book.
Very much. And any books I do find in, let's say, old crypts and stuff, I am trying to collect.
Well, please do bring them by. If there's anything that we have not collected, it would be a welcome addition.
When I have the time, there is a recently uncovered area that I intend to cross-reference. But like I said, unfortunately, priorities are stacking up with me. Still, very, very good to see you. Anyone else I might want to check in on? Working a shift today?
Not to my knowledge. DM information, I made up one NPC.
Yep, fair enough. It's just like, alright. Well, still, very good to see you.
And you as well. Please do visit soon.
I would be very happy to. And she'll head back to the group.
Okay. You out and you meet Calda and Elaris outside the conservatorium as they perhaps realize that they have no idea which inn Roy and the others have rented rooms at.
Yeah.
This is not a one in town.
Yep, and she kind of walks out like, oh, you're still here, you're not on your... They didn't tell us the name, did they?
No, should I sending stone them?
I think you should sending stone them.
Carl's gonna take up sending stone and just go, what's the name of the inn, please, and thank you.
Beep beep boo 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 boo.
Beep, beep, beep. 1 second. Whoops, there it is. As I...
Wink, wink.
Sorry, technical difficulties are being experienced.
Just loud fax machine noises coming out of the sending stones.
I think I'm on hold.
Why is it making that noise?
I said I think I'm on hold.
Damn.
Give it a sec, it's connecting. Is anyone downloading something?
Yeah, the reception here is horrible.
Get out from
Abrupt-
under the
no.
metal tree.
You hear back from Cayenne, 6 seconds later, saying it's called the Gilded Tome. It's not far from the conservatorium.
I should have guessed that.
Oh.
And there's like very brief truncated directions.
Don't worry,
He's-
I know the way.
And Alsana knows the way, so any confusion caused by east 1 block, north half, right hand side.
And that cuts
is,
off.
yep.
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 Make our way back
Alsana
there.
can guide you guys to an inn. It's a little bit on the nicer side. It is very close to the conservatorium, and of course it's named after it, or after very well-known features of it. A lot of more well-to-do travelers and visitors who come here to study at that famous library or to look into things there or anything else will likely take rooms at the Gilded Tome for convenience's sake. However, when you arrive, it turns out that Roy did manage to book rooms enough for the entire party and himself.
Alright.
Impressive.
Also, real quick, Alsana will take the book out of Alaris' shield.
Yeah. He hands her the book.
Yep, you can do that on the way. You get the book, you flip it open. You see that the pages have gone blank except for your little mark that you'd put kind of in the corner of the first page, as if it was a mark of the sort of mark you'd make on "This is my book. This book belongs to."
All right.
Huh.
And she just opens up. I'm going to have a bit more of a conversation. And
With the book?
With the book, yes. She pulls out a quill. Just heads to a desk nearby. And gives a quick wave to Cayenne and Roy and Maxwell.
You can either go up to your room, you would be sharing with Calda and Cayenne, or you can stay in the common area, which has tables and chatter and food and drink.
She'll grab a tea and head to her room.
Okay. These rooms, of course, do have a couple. They have an individual like table or desk for each bed in them. So you were able to set yourself up and settle down for another conversation.
Yep, just all went well. Thank you for keeping my little squiggle.
I like it. And I'm glad. I don't know how long I would have been in there if you had not come along. It was quite a stroke of luck.
Mr. Ritson, very happy to have found you. So am I to assume you've been to the plains before to get in contact with the hag?
Brief response, just yes.
Just, could you offer any advice?
I do not know how useful my advice may be. I do not know if they have changed in 350 years.
Still something to keep in mind. Anything's appreciated. Oh, also, real quick, sorry, I meant to ask earlier. What was the time frame that the mythological books were talking about? The old society that was on the plains.
The legends date from things told and things written almost from the beginning of the Second Era, early in the Second Era.
Okay, so not like pre-First Era, but like...
Maybe during First Era, maybe at the very beginning of Second. It's a bit like trying to pin down not King Arthur, but some other legendary figure.
Tower of Babylon.
Yeah, just based on, well, it started to be written and talked about here-ish.
Yep. Just general reference, though, is enough.
Yeah.
But, yep, she'll just ask any most pertinent advice that Nettie might have.
Gnolls eat people.
Just there's just like a pause and just, okay, we'll keep in mind.
Do you have weapons? Do you have mercenaries, protectors, guards? Are you the same? Do you have magic?
She writes in, I am a mighty druid.
That's a start.
Just a little smiley face at the end of it.
Is there more than just you?
I have three I trust who are on my level. I have a whore of a father who can offer protection during sleeping, and two others we're not sure will come with us, but at least are competent in combat.
Do you have a good mix of magic and physical might?
I'm the only dedicated spellcaster, but two others have magic they have, yes. Why do you ask?
These things will help. I want to be sure I am not asking someone unprepared.
She's, ever since we decided on going into that place, we've gotten plenty of, are you sure you're not going to just die? Don't worry.
It is still feared, then.
Very much so. Still, we have our intentions. I'd probably be going there even if I didn't find you. But I'm still happy I did.
I am as well. Anything that attacks you, kill it quickly or run away. Don't gather too much attention.
Things can snowball quickly? Question mark.
It depends on how much power you put into it. On how much you can put in.
She'll just, if I may add, don't feel obligated to answer, but who are you to have been trotting into that place yourself?
People do many things when desperate. Even dangerous ones. Given a choice between certain death, slow but certain, and possible death, but possible salvation or cure, you take the possibility. Many have, many do.
I think I understand. In the more practical sense, however, who should I be expecting to pop out of the book?
Who in what way? I am Nettie. Family does not matter now.
Does that mean you're a short-lived race?
There is an actual written ha. And then, yes, I am no gnome, dwarf, elf. Just a human. Why? What are you?
Half-blood of an elf.
And then just after a pause, there's a line. I have nothing here. But at least if I come out there, I might have a life.
I'd be more than willing to get you on your feet.
I appreciate that.
Did the hag honestly cure you? Question mark.
In a fashion.
I understand a book can't suffer from disease, but
I believe so. I felt no pain. I suppose we shall have to see.
In that case, what were your symptoms?
Screw you, I hadn't thought of anything like that. She rattles off some symptoms that, it's
Basically-
not like the bubonic plague,
Yep.
but it's like, yeah, okay, that's a bad enough.
That's a rough one.
That's a rough one. That is something that is typically terminal unless magic is applied. And it's something that it's not like, oh, you're laid up with a fever in bed forever. How did you get out into the plains in the first place?
Okay. Can she pin down exactly what it is, and if she does she know if she can cure it with her magic?
You know what? If you're going for a magic roll Arcana,
Well, could she roll like a medicine and an arcana? Like to know what it is, potentially if she could cure it by other means too, with alchemy and stuff?
sure, go ahead, one each.
Okay.
But you can only guidance one of them.
Then I will guidance the arcana.
All right,
26 and
19.
19.
It is not immune to magic. I'm gonna say, probably Calda could clear it up with lay on hands.
Okay.
I'll say that if there's any difficulty to that, it might take like a couple applications of lay on hands. But
Nothing we
Yeah.
can't handle.
yeah, a paladin of Calda's current level, could probably take care of that if there's a lingering problem.
Hold on, I gets like sad for a second. Like, oh, it wasn't even like a magical curse disease or something. It was she could have wandered into the Greenwater Wood and found the camp, and she might have been okay. Oh boy. And just there's a pause and just even if you are still sick when we get you out, I think we can help you.
I will take any help you can offer me.
And just she might just over the course of the day just give her conversation.
Okay.
She feels like she needs it.
All right. So, as this day continues, Calda, Elaris, do you want to get up to anything specific in this last bit of time as we're getting close to session end?
No shenanigans. Calda may just go up to the room, see also writing a lot in the book, and just shrug.
Okay.
So it like looks up and just gives a wave.
Is she talking back? Is she nice?
I mean, you can come and read it if you'd like. She'll just write in. I have another friend called. Is it okay if she reads?
Of course.
Just kind of turns the book over.
And Calda will pull a chair up and just watch.
There is a hello, Calda, written out below. I believe you said. Did you say Calda's name? My brain has just shut off.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
wrote
Yeah,
down called.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah, because there would not have been a Calda if that wasn't known.
That would have been funny.
Yeah, that would have been. No, that is not. The
Ooh.
book is not. Yeah, the book is not. That's not intended.
We made a very nice Horcrux today.
How to spook the players.
Oh, when did I do that? I swear I did that before.
I don't know. You might have.
I think-
Anyway, there is
yes, I
a
definitely
hello,
did.
Calda.
But yep, just give her a bit of conversation because she probably hasn't had any in like a number of centuries.
She might, out of curiosity, ask if if Calda is the one who
I'm gonna jump
is
off. I
like
have class
warrior.
later, so-
Okay,
Yeah, bye.
we are wrapping up.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna jump
So-
off.
All
Yep.
right.
Bye.
Till then. So, we wrap up the day conversing with a person in a book.
Also, she'll have York out too, just like, Colt, if you have any riddles, York's been fiending.
Oh, I don't know any.
Well, then we can brainstorm. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Alsana, don't listen.
Fine. She kind of
Fuck.
like plugs her ears and continues writing. Like I don't need to hear to write.
You need a hand, though.
Mm.
We can find tissue paper, like tissues, or like.
She has corks for bottles.
Mm. Very muffled, you hear your Casteda call to, all right, now I'm thinking something with the solution dragon, but I don't know what the question is yet. And we're gonna go ahead and leave it off there for
Yep.
tonight.
Also, just at a point, just like give York the I can't even remember the coin one. A head that does not talk, a tail that does not move.
Okay. You might stump
Well-
him for a little bit. He might not be the smartest cookie on the shelf.
Calder would probably take out some of her parchment and start folding it into a hat for York to wear.
Yes. Ah, Yorick the
That's the
golden
most
dog.
shenanigans.
It's a hat
No,
or a
paper
boat.
hat. All right. So, till next week.
Father, I crave
Four
violence.
becomes
We're
2.
getting there. I just gotta get you in.
I will
All
just
the
say it.
violence you crave is there.
Just any.
Go.
I want
Yep.
Yeah, I'm craving fighting now.
Yep. We will just have a quick check-in for spending gold probably next time.
Okay, goddamn. All
But-
right, I'll
We can't take-
But we'll do our best to make it quick.
We also can't take
Maybe
it off
even-
the party loot because Kane
Yeah.
left with 20,000 gold in his pocket.
Okay. Like at a point, we would have been like, we're going to Veravale for research and buying. Come on.
I have 200 gold. I have like 500 gold on me. We're fine.
We
Hopefully.
didn't.
But Kane has 20,000 gold in his pocket.
We handwaved Kane because Conrad had to jump off. We would have known to not let him go with everything.
Okay,
Is this
okay.
still- is this
Guys,
still on recording?
We're still on recording. I was about to click
Can we-
off.
guys, talk it out in the chat in between sessions, okay?
Will do. Okay.
All
One
right.
second.
Till next time.